Welcome to Nimmin Live, the #1 place on the internet to learn about YouTube, network with other content creators, and have an awesome time doing it. My name is Nick, and today I'm answering your YouTube questions. So if you have a question about what it is that you are doing on YouTube, there's a form that is down in the description of this live stream right now where you can go get your question down there in that form so we can get it answered on the stream today. Now, with that part out of the way, so you know what to do for those of you that are hanging out here waiting for us to get started today, make sure you get your question down there because right now we have hardly any questions in there at all. So if you can get your question in there now, we will get it answered here on the stream today. So if you have a question, make sure you get it in there. Again, that form is down in the description below. It's free to submit your questions. Now, if you're watching this on the replay, I want to let you know that we have added timestamps to all of these live streams. So as you are, enjoying this stream, I encourage you, of course, to sit back and just listen through the whole thing because we share tons of information because the direction that we go in for this stream is based on the questions that people ask. So right now, I have no idea the questions that are going to be asked during this stream, but I know that they are all problems that content creators have that we're going to help them fix, or at least help people, understand better so they know what to do in order to either grow their channels or just have a better experience, as a content creator. But I encourage you with those timestamps to skip around. If you're like, hey, I don't have time to watch this whole thing, I encourage you to just skip around, hop down on those timestamps and see, the questions that resonate with you. In addition to that, I do want to let you know that this stream is brought to you by the kind folks over at TubeBuddy. TubeBuddy is the #1 tool for YouTube content creators. They help you optimize your videos for discovery, help you find video ideas and find videos to actually target and make. They've got 90 different tools. A lot of people think that TubeBuddy is just a keyword explorer, but in reality, TubeBuddy has 90 different tools that'll help you with your YouTube channel. So you can try TubeBuddy for free down in the description below, or you can go to tubebuddy.com/Nimmin. Now, in addition to that, this stream is co-brought to you by Streamyard. Streamyard is the live streaming platform that I use to live stream this show every single Saturday at 9 a.m. Eastern. And the reason that I use Streamyard is because they do all the heavy lifting for me in the cloud. So even, if my computer goes down or anything first, I don't have to have a strong computer, but two, if my computer goes down or I have a power flicker or anything weird happens, StreamYard holds everything open so that I have that security to know that I can just come right back into the stream and keep everything moving or even hop in on my phone if I want to while the computer is booting back up and all of that. In addition to that, they make it really easy to bring guests in to your stream as well. So if you want to have, other people come onto your stream and make it really easy for you, and you can add graphics, to the screen like you can see, on your screen right now. And they have a new feature out as well where you can also load background music for your live streams directly into StreamYard. So if you are one of the people that are using creatormix.com, which is our free music service, you can also take some of those and you can load them right into StreamYard if you want as well. So you can try that at streamyard.com. And of course, a link to that is down in the description. And Chantel's actually dropping links right in the chat as well. So you can check some of these things out there also. Now, again, one thing that I do want to let you know, if this is your first time joining the stream or even seeing it, we do have a free music service for YouTube content creators. This is made by my brother D and myself. And the whole purpose of this service is to basically help you deal with all the issues that people are having with music on YouTube right now. So all the music over there is 100% original and we own the rights to it. So we're not going to be giving you any copyright claims or anything like that, but you can try that out over at creatormix.com. Now, with those things out of the way, we're going to get into the actual content itself. It's what we're all here for, right? Let's get into the actual content itself. So for those of you that are using TubeSpanner, this is the time to go ahead and get your notepad open. So if you're using TubeSpanner, then go ahead and I'll give you just a few seconds here to get your notepad open before we start digging into the content itself. And if you're not a TubeSpanner user, TubeSpanner is a all-in-one productivity tool for YouTube content creators. I encourage you to check that out as well. A link to TubeSpanner is down in the description. And just as a heads up, right now, because, we just started talking about it like a stream ago or 2 streams ago, and there's some new things that are getting ready to get put into TubeSpanner. And just as a heads up, if you are somebody that is using TubeSpanner or somebody that is wanting to use TubeSpanner, you're considering upgrading, I recommend that you do it very soon because you're going to be grandfathered in and we're getting ready to, they're getting ready to, switch the pricing over. So I just wanted to give you that heads up as well. So if you are considering it, now's the time to go ahead and get in on it. But with all that out of the way, let's go ahead and get into the content. I hope everybody's doing fantastic. Hope that you're having a great week. Just a heads up, YouTube has some new things that are coming out for YouTube Shorts. I made a video about that yesterday. as well as a couple of other things that that you should know about as a content creator. So if you get the opportunity, or if you just care about that kind of stuff, which you should as a YouTube content creator, because it all relates to you and what it is that you're doing, I recommend that after this stream today that you check out that video. And as a heads up, I'm doing those every Friday now, to where I'm just popping in, giving you just, you know, a quick hit, so to speak, of like, hey, these are the updates that are going on right now, things that you need to know about, and then we move on. I don't make it any longer than it needs to be, because, you know, I respect your time. So, so with all that out of the way, let's get into the actual content today. I'm fired up, excited to get in here, help some people with, you know, what it is that they're doing on YouTube. And we're going to do that starting right now. So the very first question that we have is from Creator Classroom, and Creator Classroom says that they upload 1 time per week or more. The type of channel is about teaching people about creators, essentially, how to use Canva. And the goal of the channel is I'm providing nuggets 1 video at a time, knowledge nuggets 1 video at a time. And the question is, I recently returned my channel on renamed my channel on Sunday from the Canva Classroom to the Creator Classroom. Been in my heart for a few months. I'm going to be doing my first live stream possibly in August with a guest, and potentially before or after her live stream. How do you set up a live redirect between channels? Do you have a video screen share tutorial on this? So much. Thank you so much. As of right now, I do not, but I am supposed to make one of those for the Streamyard YouTube channel. I think I'm making that this week, actually. So that will be available before you have your stream over there. But just as a heads up, all you have to do is once you schedule your stream, then all you have to do is go into your stream settings, and then you go into customization, and then down at the bottom, right above the option to add a channel trailer, to add a trailer to your stream, you have the option to add a redirect. One thing, make sure that you are subscribed to their channel, they're subscribed to yours. Also make sure, just as like another layer of like certainty, like, okay, we're not gonna run into any bugs or problems with this. You also want to make sure that they have you added, and vice versa, whoever's going to be redirecting to who, that you have each other added inside of your channel as well, in the community section of your settings, in order to allow each other to redirect, because they have some limitations on that. So make sure that you do that as well. So hopefully that answered your question, and we're going to hop on to the next one. Really quick before we do, though, just want to give a shout out to Big Boulder Gaming. What's up? Coming in from South Australia here. Hope that you're doing fantastic. We got some other Australians hanging out here today as well in the stream. TubeSpanner in the house. What's up, Danielle? Hope that you're doing fantastic. Mike's Auto Detailing. Nice to see you in here. We are video makers. Hope that you are doing fantastic. Nice to see you here today as well. Neil, Urban Van Life. Jerry, what's up, man? Hope you guys are all doing fantastic. I wish I could just sit here and just like name everybody in the chat and be like, hey, what's going on? But we're gonna get into the content so we can keep this puppy moving and give you the value that you came in here for today. So again, if you are just joining us, if you are a TubeSpanner user, make sure you get that notepad open, because we're going to start getting into the actual, stuff that you want to know. And as we're doing this, it's really important to just make sure that you are, if it's with TubeSpanner, if it's with a notepad or notes in your phone or whatever, especially if you're just getting started with all this stuff, it's really important to make sure that you do have something like that handy, so that in the event that, that I say something, or we're, talking about another channel or someone else's experience, if it's something that resonates with you, you can be like, didn't even think about that. Let me, write that down. Or he's saying these things, and I haven't heard people talk about those things before, so I'm going to write those down so I can research them later, things like that. But let's get into it. So Traveling Sam Books is the next question here. They upload 1 time per week or more. They've been on YouTube for 1 year or more. They have an educational channel. The goal of the channel is to increase our reach. And the question is, when I film out in parks with my kid running around in the background, my engagement goes through the roof. I always change backgrounds while doing talking headshots, but my kid being in the background makes a huge difference, like 40% watch time to 70% difference. My question is, should I be making content decisions on analytics when my videos get 100 or less views? Is this enough data to make decisions, or should I keep experimenting with my setups? Technically, yes, that's enough to, to just start giving you just a little bit of a peek behind the curtain. But really right now, I would just be focusing everything. Like, you want to pay attention to that stuff when you're getting started, because you can start to see like holes in what it is that you're doing. But in terms of, scale, you're not getting a lot of information there in terms of, like right now, you can see that information over the 100 views, and you can say like, oh, okay, So it seems like they're responding better when I have, my kid in the background or something like that. But when you start implementing that at scale, you might find the same, or you might find that people don't respond in the way that it originally looked like they were responding. So because of that, go ahead and make your judgments, now, because you are getting some information. Make sure you're looking for things like, where people are dropping off in your videos and how far people are making them, or how far people are making your videos, and how people are responding to your end screens, and if they're clicking on your end screens or not. Make sure that you're looking for those types of things right now, so that you can make sure that, as you continue on, that you are doing the right things that will help you get, more views based on how people are responding to the content itself. But with that though, 100 views it's enough, on a video to just give you like a little bit of insight, but I wouldn't bet the farm on it, so to speak. Let's see here. So next up on our list, we're on number 3 now. We got Radical Rec. Love the double R there in the channel name. It's just got a nice flow to it, kind of rolls off the tongue. They've been making videos for 1 year or more. They do jokes, pokes, and quotes. Man, they're like all over this is great. The goal of the channel is to entertain people and create a source of side income. And the question is reading and reviewing memes an issue for copyright infringement? That's a great question, and I really don't know the answer to that one. If you have a channel already and you're going to be putting the effort into it, because this one is more of like a nuance type of thing, because since you're reviewing it, technically you might, I'm not saying you will, you might fall under fair use for that, because you are reviewing it, which is a different type of value than the intention of the content when it was made, those types of things. So you'd probably fall under fair use, but I would definitely contact an attorney with exactly what it is that you are going to be doing, somebody that specializes in copyright law, and just show them, hey, this is what I'm going to be doing. Do you give me the green light on this or not? Would you be able to defend this if push came to shove? And then they'll let you know, if you're okay to use that or not. Next up on our list, we've got One Step, and we're already on number 4. And if you're just joining the stream, just a heads up, you can put your question down in the form that's in the description below this stream right now, so we can get it answered on the stream here today. So from One Step here, they upload every other day. They do fighting games, and the goal of the channel is to turn my skills and knowledge into a fun yet profitable career. The question, my dude, what's up? What's up? What's happening, One Step? So let's see here. So says, hey, what's the point of doing a premiere? Like I debated it the other day, but why would you, and in what situation? Instead of a premiere, can't you just make it public and respond to comments as they come? I don't get the point of doing a premiere, and when would you do one? So when it comes to the premieres, some people will do that because they can get super chats while a premiere is going on. They can generate memberships, things like that. So basically your chat area works just like it does in a live stream, and some of those other features do as well. So because of that, some people will do it for that reason. In addition to that, depending on the type of content, sometimes people will do it because they know they're going to get bombarded with questions. So then they'll do the premiere, and then sometimes, in some cases, they'll even mention in the video, like, hey, if you have any questions, now's the time to ask, that sort of thing. But when they're doing the premiere, then that allows them to be able to directly answer questions. I've seen marketers, actually, that will use premieres as a way to promote things as an affiliate. They have like their links ready and all of that. And then basically they will be talking about a particular product, and then they'll just be in the chat hyping up the product the whole time and just answering any additional questions that people have about the product, trying to kind of nudge people into that buying decision. So in terms of, the purpose, you can use it for all types of things like that. But in terms of, can't you just upload it and just answer people in the comments? Without question, you can. So the premiere feature, the way that you want to think about the premiere is just like, Hollywood movies, things like that. Like you premiere things that are a big deal, that they're different, they're more important than, the other thing. Maybe you've built up some hype about it beforehand, that type of thing, to where you're actually building up to an event, and the premiere is essentially the release of that event. So when you are doing a premiere on every single piece of content that you publish, in that case, there's no real, it's not really a premiere, because you're just doing that as part of how you publish content. So there's nothing really special about the content. So when you're going to be using the premiere feature, just think of it from the perspective of, is this premiere worthy? Is this something that is a little bit different, something that that I can build up some hype around, something that I can try to drive people into, so when it does happen, I have people that are interested in participating in that premiere because it's something that they're excited about. All right, next up on the list here, We've got the KMH family. The KMH family says that they have been on YouTube for 1 year or more. They do family lifestyle content. The goal of the channel is to entertain, inspire, motivate, and brighten up someone's day. And the question, hey, Nick, hope you're having a fabulous evening. I am. Thank you very much. Hope that you are also having a fabulous evening or morning, wherever it is that you happen to be, or late evening, or maybe even afternoon, depending on where you are on the globe. Says we're starting our new family channel. Have not had time to finish editing our first videos. We have 397 subscribers that came from my daughter Maya's channel. For the meantime, would you recommend we post shorts and get started until we finish editing the long form videos? Are shorts still not counted towards watch time? Thank you so much for everything that you do. So what you want to think about when you're getting ready to publish, or you're getting ready to, start moving forward on your channel is, if you plan to do shorts on a regular basis as well as part of the long form content, then go ahead and start publishing some shorts. But if you're like, I'm just doing the shorts for the sake of just putting some content out to go ahead and get in motion, and then I'm going to start uploading the long form content, wait until your long form content's ready, or make shorter horizontal content that isn't necessarily for the short shelf, but it's just like shorter videos, more than a minute, of course, but just, shorter videos that aren't necessarily, long videos for people to watch. You might want to give that a shot just for the sake of using that activity to get started compared to leveraging the short shelf to get started, so that you can start the whole thing and set a foundation based on what it is that you plan to do with the channel in the future. Good question. Great question, though. Number 6. We're already like 15 minutes in. We're already in number 6. This is great. So next up, we've got, let's see here, below 30 IQ content says I got 100 or 1,000 subscribers in a week because of shorts. Yeah, a lot of people get those types of results with YouTube Shorts, and that's fantastic. Like if you have a shorts channel, or if you're mixing shorts into what it is that you're doing and your shorts complement your long form content or vice versa, yeah, it's fantastic. But when you are doing shorts and you're just doing shorts for the sake of like, hey, I'm getting a lot of views on this, or I'm getting a lot of subscribers, that are coming from these shorts, that's okay too. But when it comes to like getting your channel monetized and things like that, then, you have to kind of take a different approach at this moment in time. One of the things I actually talked about in my update video yesterday, and I'll just go ahead and, let you guys know here that are hanging out, just in case you didn't see the video yesterday, is they mentioned in the Creator Insiders video this week, they mentioned that they are going to be putting super thanks as into the short shelf as a beta test later this year. So considering that we're like,
If you're enjoying the show, remember to give it a thumbs up and share it with a friend right now.
Considering we're 7 months in, that means, within the next 5 months, they are going to be beta testing. It doesn't mean everybody's going to have it, but it just means that they're going to be beta testing it, which will be one additional way that people will be able to monetize through shorts if that test works out. So it's awesome, in my opinion. Hey, what's up, iPhone Chris? It's, in my opinion, I think it's fantastic that they're adding those types of features, that they're at least experimenting with it. So that shows us that they're trying to figure out, like, okay, how can we make more money from this? Because, they're a business, they got to keep spending all that stuff, but we will hopefully benefit as a side effect of that. So next up, we've got Mima MC Living Healthy. Mima MC Living Healthy says they've been on YouTube for a week or more. They do health and weight loss support. The goal of the channel is to help others have long-term weight loss. And the question is, please explain hashtags and if they really benefit YouTube creators. So when it comes to hashtags, you can use them as a form of discovery, or a discovery mechanism, so to speak. So basically how the hashtags work is if you use a hashtag, if somebody else uses a hashtag in their video and you use a hashtag in your video and somebody clicks on a hashtag of their video, then they're going to see a results page for the videos about that hashtag. Just like every other feature on YouTube, the results that you're going to see there are going to be based on how people are responding to them. So if people are responding to those videos that you see there in a positive way, and you can squeeze into that, then in that case, if it's a high volume hashtag in terms of a lot of people clicking on it, then you can use that as a means of discovery. Now you might not get crushed, with views, but you can have some people trickle in from hashtags. So as you're getting started, it's definitely something that you can leverage for that. Another thing that you can do as well is you can also kind of own the hashtag. So as an example, if you have like your own community name or something like that, or your own catchphrase that you have down to like a 2-word hashtag or something, then you can also, put that in all of your videos. So then when people click on that, then they can instantly see more of your content as well. Just keep in mind, if you do that, other people can also hop on it and use it. And depending on the performance of their videos, they might kind of nudge you out in some of those places. But at the end of the day, you can use that to, just kind of trickle in some extra views and whatnot. But it's not something that I would really obsess over. However, One thing that we keep finding in our members only group that we have, when we are looking at channels, one of the things that we do is we have kind of like a best practices check. And as part of that best practices check, one of the things that we look for is the hashtags that they're using. And when we're looking at those hashtags, one thing that we find is that sometimes people will use a hashtag because it might make sense for the video that they are publishing if they don't research it first. But once you do just a little bit of research, and all you have to do for this research is you take your hashtag and you put it in the search bar. So hashtag, whatever the thing is, you put it in the search bar, it's going to show you a little icon thing for the hashtag. Click into that, it takes you into that results page. So what you want to do before you commit to a hashtag is you want to just take a few seconds and go through that little exercise of putting it in the search bar and actually researching to see the other videos that show up for that hashtag, so you can make sure that your video is appropriate for those particular results. Because what you don't want to do is you don't want to, use a hashtag that is going to put you on a page that your content isn't going to perform well on, which then will in turn cause you to be using a hashtag that is not efficient or effective for what it is that you're trying to do or the attention that you're trying to bring to your own content. So just make sure that you keep that in mind too. D Nimmin in the house. What's up, bro? Hope you're doing awesome. So next here on the list, we've got there's McMima again. Let me go to the next one here. So we've got KDDA Legion. What's going on? Hope you're doing fantastic here. Says they do 2K EA anime gaming and reaction content. The goal of the channel is 100 subs or be entertaining. The question is, morning, Nick. Good morning. Says, so as of now, I'm doing a challenge where I upload consistently for 7 days. And recently I've been experiencing two things. One would be where I would be desperate and upload a video with no editing. And the other is where I see popular games that would probably help in views and subs, but either a lot of people already did videos on it, or in my opinion, that game is just not fun. So my question is for the other YouTubers, is it normal to feel this way? If yes, is there a way around it? Absolutely. So when it comes to, coming up with video ideas and trying to find content that people haven't made before, and just trying to, make the call, like, hey, what is it that I'm going to make? When you start researching other videos, you'll see that, a lot of the ideas that you might have that other people have made content around them. And that typically comes down to people just doing some research before they make videos and proving the concept of the video before they make the content, so they can give themselves the best chance of getting that video out in front of more people, which then will in turn have more people come in, interact with that content, which will in turn cause more engagement on the channel overall, help them get more watch time, help them get more subscribers and things like that, because they've essentially vetted the content first before they decided to make a video on that topic, right? That's the idea. So what you might run into is a scenario to where you feel like, man, I'm like, all these videos I'm making, I'm just kind of tossing mine into a sea of all these other videos on the same topic. So a really good thing to do is to just try to think of, okay, so we're talking about the same topic here, but is there a way that I can frame this in a different approach that I can take to this topic? To where I can come, at a different angle for this particular topic, or I can show people something that's a little bit different, or maybe, bring in like a new fresh perspective or a new idea to this particular thing that, a lot of people have made content on. And while you're doing that, then you also try to come up with, original ideas, when you can, and share things that other people, just normally don't share. So in your case, since you're doing gaming, if you are, just like showing people how to play the game, for example, and you're helping people through that, then you are going to run into that a lot with any type of help content. It doesn't matter if you're teaching people how to sew, if you're teaching people how to play a game, if you're teaching people about YouTube even. When you are helping people solve problems, one of the things that you need to do is you need to make videos topically that will get in front of people that are having those problems, right? So then that way you can actually help people solve problems, and then that's your way to, grow your channel and whatnot. So because of that, you definitely want to make sure that you take that approach, but it's the original stuff. Even if it's not every single video that you do, it's the original stuff that's going to help separate you from, some of those other channels and help you stand out against those other channels who are just kind of rinsing and repeating that process of let's prove the concept and then just make a video on it. When you can add something creative to it, or like a totally new, piece of content that nobody has put in there yet, but you just haven't figured out exactly what that looks like yet. When you get there and you do that, then that's just something that's going to be refreshing for, for the community that you're serving. And that's going to give you the opportunity to make something that's original. And you might find that it outperforms everything else. You might find that it underperforms everything else. But at the end of the day, you definitely want to make sure, in order to not feel like I'm not being creative here because I'm just copying all these same topics that everybody else is talking about. So in order to avoid feeling it that way, lean on the creativity side as okay, everybody's talking about this, but like, what are some things like because you're on gaming. So it's like, if everybody's showing people, all these different things in the game, what can I show them? Like a great example of this, and they come into the chat and they hang out here from time to time on this stream, but there's a channel where they walk the map. And basically, that particular channel, it's something that's outside of normal gaming content, because typically you go and you watch them play the game. But when somebody's just walking the map and just showing you how big the map is, then in that case, it's just a different type of value that you're getting. So it's something unique, right? So when it comes to that sort of thing, it really comes down to like, hey, I need to make proven content that I know people will respond to. And this is where content strategy comes in too. But you're like, I know I need to make that so that I can put those out on a regular basis because they're proven that people will watch these and that they're interested in these. But while I'm doing that, I also need to make sure that I am trying to come up with something, new and fresh that people haven't done yet. Let's see here. So as we keep on going, next question that we have here on the list, we've got Polymaniacs, I think is how you say that. They do daily content. They do memes, education memes. The goal of the channel is to make money, to entertain and make money from longer videos. And the question is, how can you get more exposure from making shorts? It's all going to come down to, like, when you're making shorts, if you want more exposure, it's all going to come down to how good your shorts are, right? So here's what you got to think about is when it comes to your shorts, you have to make sure that you're thinking and just be honest, right? Okay, if I think of it from this perspective, if I was just sitting there on my phone, and we'll just do it real quick. If I'm on my phone, right, I'm just sitting here and I'm just kind of scrolling through and I'm like, oh, hey, that's a funny short. That's a funny short. That's interesting, whatever. Think of it through the viewer's eyes and think, okay, if mine was next, if I swiped up and my short was next, what would need to happen at the beginning of that for me to go, whoa, what is this? What's this about? To where it would pull you in to that particular short, to where it would cause you to commit to watching it for a longer period of time. That's what you want to think about. And then the next thing you want to think about is like, okay, so that would wow me, right? That would actually pull me in or grab my attention at least. So now as I'm starting to put this together, what could I do next that would, help either inform the viewer with what it was that I was gonna be doing later in the video, or that I could show the viewer in terms of to help start delivering on whatever it was that I used to hook them in the beginning, and do that through the entire short itself. And when you start defining, okay, this is something I would totally be interested in. This is how I would hook them. This is how I would kind of build up the thing that I'm getting ready to share. This is how I would actually insert the thing that I'm, going to be sharing. This is how I would close it out, but in a way that would, still be interesting. So I'd want to keep watching, those sorts of things. But you want to just be intentional as you're going through the process, so you can make sure that you're putting it together in a way that is likely to perform well. Because if you're just like, hey, here, I'm just going to make, whatever, and you upload it into the short self, then you're just kind of rolling the dice. But if you're being intentional about it and you're thinking of it from that perspective, like, okay, what about this is going to grab their attention? What about it is going to keep them watching for a little bit longer? And you just keep doing that through the entirety of the short, then that's going to help you make better shorts and help you, perform better in the short shelf as well. But when it comes to getting more exposure, it's just important to know that everything on YouTube, everything on YouTube is based on performance. So if people engage with it a lot, and in video content, that means they're clicking and watching it. If it's a community post, that means that they're voting for it, or that means that they're clicking through and watching that video or commenting on it a lot or whatever. Like, it doesn't matter what it is on YouTube. If people are engaging with it a lot, YouTube's going to show it to more people. If they're not engaging with it a lot, then it's going to get demoted, so to speak. And the content that people are engaging with more is going to end up overtaking it. And that's the stuff that's going to get promoted more. Let's see here. Oops, I didn't sign into this. Let me sign in here really quick. I thought I was already signed in the meantime.
If you're enjoying the show, remember to give it a thumbs up and share it with a friend right now.
All right. So there's 2 super chats that came in. I'm gonna answer both of them here really quick. But I just need to go in here and see the one that I missed here. Okay, we got Plumber Stacker.
Super chat.
Says, good morning, YouTubers. Thank you for the super chat, and good morning, YouTubers. So thank you for that, Plumber Stacker. Hope you're doing fantastic. And LHN Gaming, or Family Gaming, says, just to thank you, Nick, for all your insights and great info given out each week. Your content has so much value for other creators. You rock. Thank you. Thank you for the kind words. Super appreciated. Glad that you are finding value in the content. So let's see here. So our next question that we have here is from, let me scroll. I'll just do it this way. It'll be easier. Let's see here. So next up, we're on number 10 already, flying. So we got Love DIY, says that they upload when they have time. They've been on YouTube for less than 6 months. They have an iPhone. That's what they're making the content with. The type of channel is a personal blog. And the goal of the channel is to help people understand the end of life. And the question is the software you're using better than Streamlabs? So they have different purposes. So with Streamyard, basically it's cloud-based. This is a good question because I'm sure a lot of people have this. So when it comes to Streamyard, it's cloud-based, which means that you don't have it, like it's easy on your computer because everything happens on the internet, essentially. So it's cloud-based. When it comes to the graphics, you don't have to set up scenes and do all this crazy stuff. You just upload the graphics that you're going to be using, and then you just press the button when you want to show up on screen. It also integrates with a Stream Deck as well. When it comes to Streamlabs, it's a more complex system. So since it's a more complex system, then it's a little bit more difficult to use. I would say a lot more difficult to use, but it also, just has different features. So when it comes to Streamlabs, there's like tons of plugins that you can use that will do all kinds of different things. Like if somebody were to super chat you, then you could have the lights change and things like that, which you can still already do that through like if this then that as an example. But basically, when it comes to between the two, the big difference between Streamlabs and Streamyard is that currently that inside of Streamlabs, you can add motion graphics. Right now, the graphics, unless you're using a GIF, the graphics inside of Streamyard, they're static, which means that they're not moving around. So in the future, they'll end up adding that, and that'll definitely open that up to, a lot more people that are into that sort of thing. But they basically just have different purposes. So if you're like, hey, I need to get in here, I need to adjust the frame rate to, let's say 60 frames per second so that I can keep up with like the game speed and stuff like that, then in that case, you might want to just use Streamlabs. But keep in mind, you can use Streamlabs, use the virtual camera to push that out to StreamYard if you wanted to. But at the end of the day, again, they have different purposes. If you're gaming, you're a hardcore gamer, you have all this flashy stuff going on the screen, Streamlabs is probably going to be the one for you. But if you're like, hey, I'm just you have a personal blog, which is the thing that you're doing. So since you have a personal blog, most likely StreamYard would be the solution that you'd want to use. And in addition to that, just so you know, Streamlabs, it is free, just like OBS is. And then they just try to nickel and dime you to death over there and all the different upgrades they try to sell you on. Where with StreamYard, it's basically like, the price that you pay, and then you get all the stuff that you want. And then they also have a free tier as well, but there are some limitations with that free tier also. Good question. So next up on our list here, we've got, now we're on number 11. Science-Based Fitness says, good morning, everyone. Good morning to you. Hope that you're doing fantastic. iFun Chris, thank you for your super chat there as well. So next up, we've got St. John Butler is the channel name. And they have, the channel's a strategy channel. The goal of the channel is to create community around the New Orleans Saints. And the question is, if you upload a video that does well, but it has copyright claims, do you proceed to grow influence or remove it because of those claims? So if you upload a video and it does well and you get a copyright claim, everything's just going to keep on moving just like it normally would. If you get a strike, then that video will get taken down. So if you get a claim on your video, it's not really that big of a deal these days. I mean, it is, because they'll take, your ad revenue, but it's not that big of a deal in terms of something that you have to like freak out about if you get a claim these days. The thing that you got to worry about is strikes, right? The claims basically means that the companies where you are infringing on the copyright by taking their music or their footage, their actual video footage, and using it in your content as like a remix or something. When you get those copyright claims, those are basically just claiming the ad revenue. So it's not that big of a deal. I mean, it is. If you're getting like crushed with views, that can be very expensive really quick. But the strikes are where they're striking your channel. So just think of it through that lens. Like they're striking the channel, they're hurting the channel, and you only get 3 of those, and then you're out, so to speak. Let's see here. So next up on our list, we're number 12. We've got, let's see here, triathlon tips with Coach John. John, hope you're doing awesome, man. Nice to see you here today. They do triathlon education. The goal of the channel is to replace my FTJ with YouTube income, full-time job, YouTube income. And the question is, I get more views on trending topics than evergreen topics, but evergreen get views gradually. Should I focus on evergreen or trending? Yes. Yes is the answer to that question. Viper, man about tech in the house. What's up, my man? Hope you're doing fantastic. Nice to see you on the stream today. Always swinging by, dropping the fire emoji. Saw your, my brother actually showed me the screenshot of your Instagram post the other day with the Nimmin shirt. Love that. I'm going to be in there commenting on that one as well next time I hop into Instagram. But nice to see you in here, my man. But when it comes to putting out evergreen content or going on trends, this is where content strategy comes in. So basically how content strategy works is you give each video a purpose, you define that purpose, you define the goal, essentially, which is the purpose of that particular piece of content. And then you figure out, where it is that you need to publish that in order to, achieve that goal. But for each individual video, but then you also have to make sure that you're looking at that at the channel level as well. So for example, if you're like, hey, these videos typically drive more revenue, and revenue is part of the thing that I need to do for my YouTube channel for the sake of sustainability, especially if you're trying to replace your full-time job with YouTube income. So in that particular case, and you need to go into your analytics, figure out the videos that typically drive the higher CPMs, plus get you enough views to drive total revenue. But basically you would go in and you would say, okay, in order to make sure that I keep my bottom line cruising, I need to make sure that I put out at least X amount of videos on these over the course of the next, 30 days or over the course of the next 90 days, depending on how often you're putting out content. The next thing you got to do is you got to say, okay, now we also have to think about like channel growth. If that's something that you're focusing on right now, got to think about channel growth, got to think about, bringing people back to the channel, that sort of thing. And also got to think about spikes of viewership and then long-term stable viewership. So then what you would do in that particular case is you would say, okay, I know that when I publish videos on these trending topics, typically, or on trending topics, they typically perform well. So I'm going to leave space in the schedule for that. And then I'm also going to put out a series, or I'm just going to put out, this certain number of evergreen videos, because I have proof on my channel that this evergreen content typically performs well long-term. I call that like slow burn content, to where like you put it out, might not do great, for the first like 30 days, but then it, starts picking up, once it ends up, showing up in search and, or, things like that. But basically when you are, thinking of the content that you're going to be putting out, making sure that you're figuring out, okay, this is what I'm trying to accomplish with the channel, which in your case is replacing your full-time job with your YouTube income. So in order to accomplish that goal, I need to make sure that, one, I'm putting out videos that will consistently get views, which is going to be what your evergreen content is going to do. I need to make sure that I'm putting out content that's evergreen, that also generates higher CPMs for me, or stuff that I can typically sell well through affiliate marketing or your own products or whatever it is that you're doing there. But I need to make sure that I'm putting out, enough of that content in order to serve that. And then I also need to make sure that I'm putting out some of that content on trends for the sake of getting those spikes of new viewership, so that I can make sure that I'm also, using that as a tool to grow the channel as well. So that's the approach that you want to take, is you just want to look at it through the lens of, this is what I'm trying to accomplish with the channel, which in your case, is replace your full-time job with YouTube income. So in order to do that, I need to make sure I'm getting revenue, I need to make sure that I'm getting views, and I need to make sure that I'm growing the channel in some way. So you just have to make sure that you're putting out the content on a regular basis that's going to help you serve all of those things. And then you have to decide, based on what's going on with the channel and what is, at the forefront of the thing that you're focusing on the most for the channel at that moment in time. You have to make sure that you're considering all of that as you're, kind of mapping things out for the next 30 days or 3 months. So hopefully that helped. Next on our list here. So Tommy T's Extreme Roller Coasters, thank you for the super chat. Says, Nick, I'm confused why a video will take off and get tons of views and then just stop and go flatline. Why is that? It will be because either like the people that the system is deeming that's a perfect fit for that right now, they just slowly stop responding to it, or they just stop responding to it overall and then it falls off. It could also just be because of like market cap, essentially. So like in your case, you're doing, extreme roller coasters, even though I know tons of people are interested in that, you could just hit a certain threshold to where, after a certain point of time, you just kind of run out of people, essentially, that are likely to respond well if YouTube ends up showing your content to them. So when you start putting out, when you put out content, it's getting, a lot of views on it, and then, it either slows down or it completely dies off, then it could be that. Other things can happen though too. So like, say for example, that you publish a video today and that video ends up showing up in the next up spot or in a high spot of suggested videos next to a few other high performing videos on YouTube that will just drive traffic to that video for, let's say, the next like month or two. And then what happens is, say somebody else comes along and makes another video, or let's say you make another video, similar in topic, and YouTube, for whatever reason, ends up testing it next to, that other, those videos that are performing well. And let's say someone else's video, your own video, ends up overtaking those spots, then you end up in that particular situation kind of to where the videos that were feeding the traffic to it from suggested videos, those end up just kind of getting bumped down essentially for higher performing content or more fresh content. And then that causes the videos that you're talking about right here, that causes them to, slow down or just kind of dry up when it comes to the view counts. So what you want to do in order to be able to identify those things is if you go into your YouTube analytics, you can actually go into your traffic sources, and within there you can check the boxes of like browse. You can check it for suggested videos and search, and you can actually see the lines, and you can just look clear as day. You got to set the date range for it. You can do this like per video. You can do it at your channel level too, but you can just do that, and then you'll be able to see clear as day when you have big drop-offs, like, oh, this is exactly what happened in terms of, we're cruising high on suggested videos, and then suggested videos just tanked. Or we were doing great on home pages, and then all of a sudden home pages just tanked, right? Or we had great search positions, we were getting a lot of traffic from search, and then that just tanked. So if you dig into your stats, you'll be able to find out specifically where the where you kind of fell off, so to speak. Next up, we got the Evil Eye. Says, does not uploading damage your channel? It's not that it damages your channel. Like, you could upload, like once a month and still be okay if your content is like, really high performing. But if your content is not really high performing, then in that case, you want to make sure that you have, a regular upload schedule. And the reason for that is because if you are taking big breaks and your content, it's not like doing great, and you're taking big breaks, then what happens is you start losing that recent viewer history because you're not driving a lot of traffic. So if you're driving a lot of traffic, then that gives you the space where you can take, a little bit of a break because you have a lot of activity going on in the channel. But if you're like, hey, I don't have many, real-time views coming in every day, and then you take off for a month, then yeah, when you come back, you're probably gonna have a hard, like a handful of videos you're gonna have to make to get back on track. In some cases, you'll be able to do that quickly, but all it takes is one video though. Like one video that performs well will just put you right back on track, and then you can just keep on trucking. So, so absolutely, without question, when you do take breaks, it can cause an impact. Actually, YouTube, they say in the Google help pages that if you upload less, or they don't say your consistency, but they say if you upload less, that it can hurt you in recommendations. So, just keep that in mind, when you're considering that. Michael Daniels, hey, what's up, dude? I hope you're doing awesome. Says, I love using OBS and Streamyard. The main reason for Streamyard is the live comments on screen. I usually have 17 windows open on 5 monitors. Thanks for all you do, Nick. Yeah, you're not playing around. 17 windows and 5 monitors. Holy cow. Yeah, that's insane. That's a lot of monitors, man. So the live comments on screen. Yeah. So I used to put the comments on the screen. Now, if I know the content creator and I know that, everything's clear, then in that case, I'll put the comments on the screen. But if I don't know the creator, I don't put comments on the screen anymore. So there was an issue on the Streamyard channel where somebody was interacting as a normal user, but they were actually trolling, and they had some obscene things in their profile pictures, and they were added to the screen because, like, you just don't even think to look for that kind of stuff. And they were added to the screen and actually stayed on screen for a while. And they actually ended up, having an issue because of that. So I personally don't put them on my screen anymore unless it's a regular, somebody that hangs out here on a regular basis or something. Let's see here. So as we keep on going, we've got next up on our list here. Place that with the YouTube income. And hey, really quick, Coach John, and really for triathlon tips with Coach John, if you're still here, another thing I wanted to mention, if you are going to be replacing your full-time job income with YouTube income, I recommend, just as a quick thing for you, I recommend that you diversify as much as you possibly can in terms of the different ways that you're making money from your YouTube channel. I would explore every possible way that you can, generate income from the type of content that you make if you're going to be replacing your full-time job income with YouTube. That'll help you accelerate things. I actually have a worksheet. It's free. A worksheet that's attached to a video that I put out a couple of weeks ago or a few weeks ago. The video is something along the lines of like how to start a new how to start a new YouTube channel to earn money, I think is what it's called. And in the description of that, but watch the whole video, but in the description of that video, I actually have a form or a Google sheet that you can fill out when you're doing research on other channels who make content like yours. So you can just get a really good idea of, how they're monetizing, and you can make the call on like, hey, I'm going to start monetizing using these things because they'll get me, away from my full-time job faster. Good Talk HQ says, you offer for a service where you can sort of review a channel and try to help improve the performance. We do that in our channel memberships, in the channel membership. But if you're wanting like a deep dive to what we do there, it's like a first impression thing. We go through, do best practices check, things like that. Make sure that you're not, making any like, major mistakes, and also kind of help you fine tune things that we see. But we don't do that from the perspective of, hey, we're going in and looking at your analytics and things like that. It's all from the outside. So if you're wanting a deep dive, I recommend you reach out to Daniel Batal at danielbatal.com, reach out to Roberto Blake at awesomecreatoracademy.com. Either one of those guys will get you taken care of. Also, Tim Schmoyer also actively consults as well. You can find more information for him at videocreators.com. And Daryl Eves, if you're like, hey, my channel's already thriving, I'm trying to move it up, a notch, take it to a next level, then in that case, you'll want to reach out to Daryl Eves. So let's see here. So next up on the list, so we get really quick. We got Tayreal Key says, how do you find brand marketing partnerships? This is a great question. So eventually they'll start reaching out to you to where, you'll wake up every day and you'll check your email, and they'll most likely be, like at least one person reaching out to you trying to get you to do a piece of sponsored content. Like my email every single day, when I open up my email, I've got, at least one, but usually multiple people or multiple companies trying to, work with me in some way. So there'll be a threshold that you'll cross eventually to where they'll reach out to you. But if you want to make it happen faster, then in that case, you need to start doing some outreach yourself. So one thing content creators don't really think about when it comes to, working with companies or doing brand deals, one thing they typically don't think about is that, when you have a YouTube channel and you're approaching it as a business and you're approaching it with an entrepreneurial mind, then in that case, all you have to do when it comes to the brand sponsorships is look at it like it's a lead and sale process. So essentially what you do is you collect the information like, hey, these are all the different companies I think would be a fantastic fit for my content. You get that list together, and then you start reaching out to all the people, for those companies. So you find their influencer marketing people on LinkedIn, or you can reach out to the companies directly and ask them, if they do, if they have any influencer marketing people that you can be in contact with, and then you put them on that lead list, and then from there you start reaching out to them. You put together a media kit and you let them know, hey, this is my channel, these are my average view counts, this is what I'm trying to accomplish with the channel in terms of your purpose, these are the types of people that I'm trying to reach with my content, and a little blurb about why you think that you would have a good partnership with them or how you'd be able to add value to them. And then of course have it open in terms of if this is something that you're interested in, then contact me here. If I don't hear back from you, I'll follow up, within, a few months or whatever, and then continue the conversation. So basically what you do is you just start putting that process together of outreach, and then you will start converting people, if you start taking people through that process and you're actively reaching out. But what you want to do is you got to find the contacts. So typically you can just find, you can hop on Google and you'll be able to track down their influencer marketing people or their marketing people, either one, because sometimes there's crossover. Sometimes they'll have like a dedicated influencer marketing person. Other times it's just a marketing person, but you want to find them on Google, or you can find them on LinkedIn, like I mentioned before, and just go ahead and add them on LinkedIn and go ahead and start, having those conversations with them there, but don't like spam them in their DMs because everybody's getting spammed there. One thing that you want to do in that case is connect with them and then start uploading some of your content maybe over to LinkedIn so they'll see it, right? Because LinkedIn is like the business marketplace, but creators are over there too. But if you're like, hey, I'm going to be doing this outreach and I know some of these companies or some of the people there are on LinkedIn and I know there's a really good chance they're going to be checking out my LinkedIn profile, then what you want to do is make sure all of that is set up, that just kind of highlights you in that way in terms of the content you make and all that, like I was talking about before, and then start uploading some of your content natively to LinkedIn as well. So just when they see it, they can see the production quality, they can see how you're putting things together, they can see all of that. And then, the people that are a good fit for it, the people that's their job is to do influencer marketing, they're going to be able to look at your content, like when they see it, and they'll be like, oh yeah, this person would be a great fit for what it is that we're doing. And then they'll, further explore from there and then reach out to you. But basically, if you just make that part of a process though, and follow up with people, and interact with people all over the place, in terms of, on Twitter, on LinkedIn and all that, you'll quickly start getting brand deals as long as your content's good. And when you are doing this, another thing that you can do as well is, I'm not sure what type of content you make, but if you are currently making anything where you're mentioning other products or services in your videos, anytime you mention somebody, another company, tweet them. Like share your video out onto Twitter and then tweet that company, just at that company so that they know that, hey, you know, this person's making content. And that's another way, you know, even if you can't find their influencer marketing person or you can't, you know, kind of penetrate that veil, so to speak, by adding them on Twitter, there's going to be somebody there in that company that's going to see that you're already talking about their products, and they're going to see the quality of your content, how you're putting everything together, how you're highlighting them and all of that. And that can be another, you know, another thing that opens doors for you. But just look at it like a sales process though. That's the approach that you want to take, is just be like, hey, this is a sales process. I'm not going to make a big deal out of it. I'm just going to say, this is the list of the companies that I think would be a great fit, you know, for the content I'm putting out. And I'm going to, you know, start doing outreach, and I'm going to, you know, keep it all organized and, you know, just make it a sales process. Let's see here. So next up on our list, we've got Digital Hustle Network. And Digital Hustle Network says that they do finance content. The goal of the channel is to keep people informed of the future digital economy. And the question is, when I repost a video to my community tab, I noticed that it gets a decent pump in views. Is this because my community audience differs from my viewers? Did this throughout June and no one complained about seeing the videos before? Yeah, so this is great. So everybody can use this. So, and I see your super chat here, Tayreal. I'll answer that right here in just a second. Oh, you're building a community, a digital community for educators. Yeah, so in that case, anything related to you know, digital education, those are the companies you want to reach out to. Any tools that are related, you know, to digital education, reach out to them. That's the route that you want to take. But and thank you for the additional super chat too. Thank you. But when it comes to your community tab, yeah, posting videos there is great. So I have a video on my channel about how to use your community tab. And one of the things that I mentioned in that video is to share your content in there on a regular basis. And the reason that you want to do that is because when you share your content there, it's going to get in front of, you know, additional people that either may have seen it before or may not have seen it before, but it's going to get in front of additional people. But in addition to that, let's say that you published a video 3 months ago and you have the opportunity to share that video because people really enjoyed it. It performed well, you know, on your channel, and you have the opportunity to publish that video in your community feed today. You might think, hey, this is an older video, you know, I'm not gonna do it. A lot of people probably saw this already. But in reality, if you post that, you're gonna see that, hey, a lot of people came in and they saw it. I might even get some comments on it and things like that. But what you wanna do is when you are sharing videos in your community feed, you're doing the right thing, but I'm just saying this for everybody else. When you're sharing videos in your community feed, what you wanna do is, if you share a poll, you're going to see on the community tab, you're going to see the amount of engagement that you get from that. You know, you're going to get a lot of engagement, and people are going to, you know, interact with that. They're going to engage with that a lot. When you share a video, it's going to look like it's a dud. You're going to be like, oh, you know, I shared this, but hardly anybody's commenting on it, or I don't have any comments on it. I got like, you know, 20 likes or 3 likes or whatever. But if you go and you actually look at the stats on that video, then you're going to see a different story. You're going to see, you know, the real-time stats popped up on it when you, you know, when you shared it. So just make sure that you are looking, in the actual video itself instead of looking at the community post to see how the post performed. And when it comes to sharing videos in your community post or in your community feed, do it on a regular basis, because by doing this, what you're doing is you're making it easy to bring people back into your channel. So if they respond to that, you know, or not, is one thing, but when your community post shows up in front of them, then that's just a reminder, like, hey, here's this person, you're top of mind again. And then of course they can click into the video or the community feed and then end up coming out, you know, coming back into your channel itself. So I would definitely make sure you're using it on a regular basis, and sharing your videos there is fine. If you want to level that up a bit, make sure that you're sharing a short playlist. So, you know, instead of just the one video, try to think of the other videos on your channel that would be a great complement for the video that you're considering sharing in the community feed. And then think, okay, could I put this into a playlist? And then share, you know, a playlist of like 2 or 3 videos and say, like, you know, hey, you know, which one of these videos, you know, would you like me to make an updated version of? Or say, you know, hey, here's, you know, 3 videos on this topic because I'm getting a lot of questions about this. And, you know, this is going to put, you know, those questions to rest, and just try to drive people into that playlist. Tim Yance, what's up, man? Hope you're doing fantastic. OMG him again. Hope you're doing awesome. Says, should you leave up your live streams as a VOD? From OMG him again. Yeah, you should, if it makes for a good replay experience, or if you're trying to grow your channel from it. So if you have a live stream and you're trying to use it as a piece of video on demand content, make sure that you're doing it in a video on demand kind of way. So for example, you know, a lot of people add like countdown timers and all this other nonsense to the front of their live streams. Take out all that stuff. If you're going to be depending on that for, you know, for replay views, just take out all of that stuff. Go in, edit it. You're going to lose the chat, but that's fine, because you're, you know, again, you're streaming and then you're repurposing purchasing it as a VOD, so it's fine if you lose the, you know, the live chat. But yeah, absolutely. If it's a good fit for the channel and a good fit as a piece of VOD content, then use it as such. If it's not, let's say you're just on a hangout and it's just like, hey, you know, everybody, we're just hanging out and, you know, I'm just answering some random questions about my life or, you know, like whatever, to where it's not really something that you would normally do on the channel, then in that case, you might not want to make it, excuse me, you might not want to make it a VOD, because it's not delivering the same value that people typically get from the get from the channel. Power Wheelchairs for Success. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing awesome. So let's see here. So next up on our list, we're on number 14 already. It's fantastic. We are cruising. High five to us. So the channel name here is SkipX. SkipX says they upload 1 time per week or more. They do gaming analysis and recaps. And the goal of the channel is to make a career through my videos. And the question is, how do people get views on topics that aren't trending? I see people around my size doing it with similar content. So you can absolutely get views on content that is not trending. What you have to do is you have to be able to capture somebody's attention from home pages or suggested videos. That's how you do it. So when it comes to your video, you have to make sure that you're thinking of the topic, right? So when it comes to the topic itself is you make the video about something that that hey, there's going to be a decent amount of people that are interested in this based on your understanding of your audience and who it is you're trying to reach. Then you got to think about, okay, the timing of this video. Is this the right time to publish a video on this particular topic based on what's going on in the space around the type of content that I make? If yes, then okay, you move on to the next thing. How am I going to package this up? What title am I going to use? What thumbnail am I going to use? And then you go and make the video. So absolutely, people do respond to content just off of home pages that isn't trending. But what you have to do is you have to get good at being able to target your audience through the topics, titles, and thumbnails, so that you get the right people clicking on your stuff, and then it performs, well, because you're delivering the content to them that they want, and then YouTube will identify that and then start showing your content to other people who use YouTube like they do elsewhere on the platform. Let's see here, next up on our list, as we keep going, we're number 15 now. Pat's Tune says that they do bi-weekly content. It's an educational channel. The goal of the channel is to help people and make this side hustle, hopefully. And the question says, I use a lot of short clips of other people's videos, not shorts, to rank various institutions in Ghana. I'm worried about monetization. Will this prevent my channel from being monetized when I'm eligible? If you're just using clips of other people's channel with no additional context or anything like that, it's possible that you could run into issues. But if you are adding additional context to it, let's say that you are, you're talking about something and then you have, their clip pop up as just something that you're using to illustrate the idea based on you talking about, them and what's going on in that clip, then in that case, you'll probably be okay. But if you are like, hey, I'm literally not doing anything except taking somebody else's content and then I'm just putting it up, as my own, then in that case, that's where you'll probably run into trouble. Next up on the list, not trouble, but I mean, that's where, it's really going to come down to the person that's reviewing it on, on their interpretation of, if they're going to let you in or not. Her Heel Review says, well, updated videos keep prior views and comments. Yeah, if you, like, for example, if you go in and let's say that you go and you change your description right now, or you change your title, then it will keep your prior views and your comments. Absolutely. OMG him again. Thank you for the super chat there. I appreciate it. So next up, we've got Ernesto Esparza Jr. says that they have been making videos for less than 1 month. So brand new to YouTube. Welcome to YouTube. Welcome to the creator side of YouTube. It's awesome. So make yourself comfortable. Hope that you can fully tap into it. But they do video game content. The goal of the channel is to reach many subs. And the question is how much you can upload mini videos. How often can you upload videos? I don't know if that's what you're trying to ask there, but you can upload videos, every day. If you want to, you can upload, 3 videos a day. If you want to, that's totally fine too. It really comes down to what it is that you want to do. But one thing that I encourage you to do is to pace yourself. YouTube is a long game. It is a marathon, not a sprint, as I'm sure you've heard people say. If not, I'm happy to introduce you to that idea about YouTube. But YouTube is it's a long game. So you have to make sure that you are publishing content at a pace that you're going to be able to sustain, because it's really easy, especially when you're getting started, because you're pumped up about the whole thing. It's really easy to come in and just go hard. Like, hey, I'm making 3 videos a day. We're just going to put all this content out there. It's really easy to do, but you have to make sure that you're thinking about, okay, am I still going to be able to do that 6 months from now, 3 months from now, a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now? Because you want to make sure that you are uploading at a, at a sustainable pace. Andrew Can in the house. What's up, my man? Hope you're doing awesome. Lorecraft, nice to see you in the stream today. Hope everybody's doing fantastic. Doug Hewson, YT, hanging out in the chat today. Hope everybody's doing awesome. Okay, so next up on our list here, we're on number 17. And we're like lightning today. Says the channel name is You Can Fit It, and they upload when they have time. The type of channel is automotive information. The goal of the channel is to grow at the moment. And the question is, how to leverage more traffic when you have just over 100 views? This is not going to be the answer that you're looking for, but, you know, like I'm here to give you the, you know, give you the facts so that you can use it, you know, to better what's going on with your channel. So you get more traffic when you make better content and when you can connect from the outside with the people that you're trying to reach with your content. So what that means is it's going to come down to the topics that you choose to make your videos about. It's going to come down to how you package those topics up in terms of your thumbnail and title to help people identify that the content you're making is for them and also compel them to click on it based on the things that they care about. And then in addition to that, once they actually click on it, what happens next? How do people respond once they click on your video? Do they watch it for, you know, a long period of time, or do they leave after the first, you know, 10% of the video? So you just want to make sure that you are, you know, paying attention to those sorts of things, because YouTube doesn't just, like, the system doesn't just like pass out views, because in order to get views, a human has to choose, unless you're in the shorts. If you're doing shorts, then they swipe up and then they have to just make the choice to continue watching and enjoy the content. Additional engagement is always a plus there. But when it comes to long form content, people have to choose to click on what it is that you're doing. So it's impossible for YouTube to pass out views to content creators. So because of that, what we have to do as content creators, we have to get really good at understanding who it is that we're trying to reach with our content, so that when we do make content, we can make sure that they can identify it's for them, and then we can compel them to click on it so they can come in and then get the experience that they want with the video content. Let's see here. Tommy T's Extreme Roller Coaster says, Nick, you're awesome. I watch your videos every Saturday here in California. I appreciate you. Thank you for the kind words. I appreciate it. Thank you for the super chat as well. Glad that you enjoy the content. And you've been around for a while too. So thank you for, you know, just hanging out and, you know, just being here, you know, being here a lot. TubeSpanner says, Danielle says, hey, Nick, your community here is awesome. Get some amazing new users and upgrades today, even helping us find and fix some bugs. Nice. Oh, you say got some amazing new users and upgrades today. Nice, nice, nice. Good. Love it. Absolutely love it. So next up on our list here, we've got, let's see here. Okay, we did You Can Fit It. So next up, we've got Jiffy Tunes Animations. Jiffy Tunes Animations does animation content. The goal of the channel is, it's always been my dream to hit 100,000 subscribers. And the question is, I've been making videos for a long time now, but my channel is still pretty non-popular. I'm just not going anywhere, and I don't know why. So when you are putting content together on YouTube, it's really important to make sure that you are defining a handful of things. So when you are making an animation, as an example, the very first thing you got to think about is, okay, when I'm making this animation, before you even make it, what am I going to put in the thumbnail for this? And what am I going to make the title about in this? And then you have to make sure that you go through the exercise of, okay, if that's what I'm going to put in the thumbnail, why would that stop somebody that, let's say I'm sitting here on my phone, right? And let's say I'm going through and I'm sitting here, I'm looking at YouTube and I'm just scrolling through like, no, I don't want to watch that. Don't want to watch that. Don't want to watch that. Oh, what's this, right? You want that, oh, what's this, to be your video. So what you have to make sure that you're thinking about is, okay, I'm doing animation content. It's awesome. Yeah, I love, you know, like my animations are great. Once people watch it, they love it. But I got to make sure that I'm making my animations presentable, so that when it shows up on a homepage or suggested next to another piece of content, it's going to grab attention and compel somebody to click. So because of that, what you want to make sure that you do is, before you do your animation, you think about topically, okay, what's this animation going to be about? The core, you know, message or idea of this particular animation, and how can I package that up into a thumbnail or title? And then within that thumbnail or title, how can I make it to where the thumbnail is something that will, one, grab attention based on the topic itself and the people that you're trying to reach with that animation, but also, like, what is it exactly that you're going to say in the title? Now, some things that you can do if you choose to walk this path, because a lot of animators, you know, they just want to put out like 100%, you know, original animations, which is cool. But another thing that you can do, depending on how you're doing your animations, is you can make animations about things that are already popular. So for example, if there's, you know, some type of hype going on around a new movie, like Thor just came out, right? So with Thor that just came out, you know, if you had your your own animated version, even if it's a stripped down, like, you know, stick figure animation, but you have it, you know, it's kind of, you know, representative of like Thor, for example, to where you make something that would be amusing for, you know, the crowd that's into Thor, as an example. So doing like those types of things can also be advantageous. But, you know, as an animator, you're probably, you know, pretty strong on keeping things original, but just keep in mind, you can absolutely leverage things that are already popular as a means to bring people in and introduce them to your more original content. Real Key says, how would you revive old valuable videos? So what you can do is, when it comes to old content, is if you want to spend the time on it, you can go through and you can update titles, update, you know, your thumbnails, and see if you can get a better response. Sometimes it'll hurt the video, sometimes it'll help the video, but that's typically how people revive old content. Once you refresh it, another thing that people commonly do, that's extremely effective. This is actually more effective than just updating the thumbnail and title. But once you do, you know, that update, once you find that people respond to it better, because we're trying to do like a full revival here, right? So you're going to do all the things. So the first thing, update the thumbnail and title and keep working on it until you find one that people respond to better. TubeBuddy actually has an A/B testing tool, and I got a link to them in the description, but they have an A/B testing tool to where you can upload, you know, you have your original thumbnail and you have your secondary thumbnail that you put up, and then it'll test them back and forth based on, you know, the impressions that you're getting, and then it'll give you a report based on, it'll tell you, this one performed better in browse features. This one performed better in suggested videos. This one performed better in search, and so on. So you can use that information to be like, okay, this is performing in the place that I want it to perform. And then once you do that, and you have proven that, yes, this is getting a positive, you know, result, even if it's minor, it's getting that positive increase or at least staying the same. Then the next thing you want to do is you want to make a new piece of content, a new video. And then in that video, you want to work it out to where at the end of that video, you basically topically make the video about something that would be a good handoff to that old video that was already performing well for you that just kind of died off. And by doing that, you make that new video that is going to, you know, get the original, you know, exposure on YouTube as long as people respond to it. And then at the end of that video, you recommend that video on your channel based on, you know, the interest that people have coming in on that newer video that you're making. So you use that as a way to drive new data essentially into that old content. Another thing that you do is, as a part of that, you also make sure that you pin a comment on that particular video as well, on the new one, driving people into that old video as well. So all you're doing with this is you are just kind of seeding that video with just fresh data in terms of, hey, this is a new crowd of people now, because I made this video a year ago, 2 years ago, whatever. This is a new crowd of people. This is how they are responding to this video now. And then, you know, based on that information, then sometimes YouTube will start promoting that, or not promoting, but it'll start showing that video to other similar users like them, and that can cause the videos to start performing, you know, okay, or, you know, shoot off again, depending on, you know, on the response that you get from them. Let's see here. Next up on our list, we've got, great question though. Next up, we're on number 19 now. We've got Valerie Hargett. Valerie Hargett says that they do, let's see, they've been uploading 1 year or more. They do cooking content. They share easy dinner ideas. The goal of the channel says, I want to grow my channel and be able to earn money from it. Question, I feel like I do a pretty good job with my videos and my family will not give me any helpful criticism. What would you say is the best analytic to judge if I have decent quality content? Your audience retention reports is going to do that for you. The retention, question mark, mine is typically around 50%. Is that decent? I'm always trying to improve, but it seems to stay the same. And for retention, do I focus on percentage or average minutes watched? Thank you for all of your help. So when it comes to your audience retention, you use that as the guide, because 50%, if your videos are not performing well right now, then 50% isn't enough for the type of content that you're making and the other content on YouTube that you're competing against. Keep in mind, there are other factors involved. You got to get people to click on it and all that. Like you could have a video that has high retention, but if nobody's clicking on it, then that video is still going to perform poorly. So you got to make sure that you're looking at your click-through rate as well, because that's your ability to actually convert people into the video when YouTube is showing it to people on the platform. And you have to make sure that you're performing in the right places there. So you don't want to look at the averaged out view. You want to go into your traffic sources, make sure you're looking there, so you can make sure that the places that you are performing well are the places that you are intending to perform well. And then from there, that's where you want to lean on your actual audience retention. When it comes to percentage viewed or average, minutes watched, the percentage viewed is extremely important. But, as you start making videos longer and longer, then it'll start, of course, if you can get 99%, then that video is going to blow up regardless of, if it's a 10-minute video or if it's a 3-hour video, it'll just, blow up as long as you can get people to click on it. But If you are getting, 50% on a regular basis, then in that case, because you didn't tell me how long the videos are, so 50% of a minute doesn't mean much, but 50% of, 20 minutes, that's, that you're doing okay. So when it comes to, 50%, it's okay. You're halfway there, regardless of how long the content is. You're halfway there. So what you need to do is you need to just keep pushing it and keep trying to get it further. Now, you might think to yourself, okay, that sounds great. Sounds easy. Hey, Nick, you can sit over there and you can say, hey, yeah, just keep pushing it, get your audience retention up. But what do I do? How do I do that? So as content creators, we typically get caught in ruts, right? So, hey, Scrap Palette Man, what's up, man? Hope you're doing awesome. So when it comes to, us, as content creators, we typically get caught in, or we can get caught in ruts. I won't say typically, but we can get caught in ruts. So what that means is we have our way of doing things and we settle into that way of doing things. And we just think like, okay, that's the way to do it. And we'll do some minor experiments here and there. But if you want to like make a change, the best way to make a change is to say, okay, people are just getting to 50%. So since people are getting to 50% of this video, if I want people to get to 70%, I got to do something different, right? It might be something that I'm doing in the video. So I got to make sure I'm, analyzing my retention across videos in order to look for those types of things. But if I can't get people past that 50% mark, then I need to do something with the content. I need to take a different approach to what it is that I'm doing. Maybe it starts at the hook. Maybe you have, moments of time, throughout the video where you're trying to re-engage people, those sorts of things. Maybe you have to completely change the scene that you're in or completely change what it is that you're showing, completely change the pace of what it is that you're doing, have a quick moment of like nothing's really going on, and then you come in and go in a completely different direction, so to speak. Like you have to experiment. Like if you want to get over those types of things, like you have to be willing to just say, okay, you know what? This is the way I've been doing it. And it's gotten me this far. So like I'm getting there, but if I want to take it further, then I have to start doing new things in order to, I need to start doing new things or tweak things enough based on, the data that you have access to. I need to, I need to either change stuff or I need to tweak it in order to get me past those marks. So you do that through experimentation. So like as an example, one thing that I have with my channel in terms of experimentation, right? I'm just giving you an example here. So one thing I have with my channel is as YouTube content creators come onto the platform, they run into my content and, some people will, like it. Some people will think I talk too fast and things like that, which is cool. It's not for everybody. But when they come onto the platform, when you come onto the platform, there's a lot of new content creators here. So when you come onto the platform, you start watching my content and then you're like, hey, this is great, right? Because I add tons of help, especially if you're, just getting started. So then you will watch, like all the videos when I put them out because, all that information, you're like, okay, yeah, all this is making sense, and then you start applying it, you start seeing the results that you get and all that. So you're like, hey, this is great. But then you start noticing like, hey, Nick, Nick has made, this type of video several times. So I'm going to stop clicking on those when he makes those, but I'll still click on these. And then eventually, you might get to a point where you only come out and hang out in live streams, or you only look at content that is, something that I might do that might be a little bit more original or just, a little bit different than what I normally do. So because of that, because my channel is more of like a transient channel, meaning people come in and they'll stick around for a while and then, they just kind of move on, from there. So I just introduced that new series as a total experiment. It's something completely different. It's a little bit outside of my comfort zone in terms of like, trying to deliver the news in like a, engaging way. And I've got some ideas for that. Like right now we're just getting started in terms of just getting in motion. But with that particular, idea or that experiment, the whole purpose of that is like, hey, let's just make one piece of content, a week that over time, as people get used to it and, people start seeing the value in it, that over time, people will start coming back to the channel just to check in on that, regardless of where they're at in their YouTube journey. So that experiment is my attempt to, keep people coming back to the channel even after they've moved on, at least for that content to stay up to date with the news. So that's something completely different from what I normally do, because it's not like, hey, this is how you do this or this. Instead, it's like, hey, this is what's going on. So it's a different type of value, but I'm running that experiment in order to try to solve that problem. So in your case, when you get your videos to 50%, if you're like, hey, I got to push this because my videos aren't performing the way that I, want them to at 50% and with the click-through rate that I'm getting, and the other engagement, that I'm getting. So since they're not performing there, then I have to experiment. I got to, start changing things up. I can't just like, I don't know, because you do cooking, you share easy dinner ideas. So in your particular case, maybe you're talking to the camera and you're just kind of showing people what's going on while you cook. I don't know. You might be doing like super high production stuff. I don't know. But basically the thing that you want to do is you want to say to yourself, okay, if I can only get people to the 50% mark on my video, and no matter what I do, I can't get them further, then you have to do something different, right? Like you have, like you're at that wall right now to where you're like, okay, I can't come up with anything, you know, different, but you might still be doing everything like in the same environment or the same way, to where you might need to put in, you know, more effort possibly. Like, again, like I haven't watched your video, so I'm not sure, but you know, I'm just giving you like the rundown in terms of the exercises that you need to think about when you're trying to get past these things. But you have to say, okay, like if people are only responding to this point, then I got to do something, right? I got to do something that is different than what I'm normally doing, in terms of, it might be the editing, it might be how you're presenting the content, it might be the, you know, the things you're focusing on, you know, when you're recording the videos, it might be the quality of the audio or the camera itself, you know, those types of things matter as well. So, you know, when you're putting everything together, you know, if you really want to get past, you know, like thresholds when you get stuck, then, you know, it's going to come down to experimentation. So next up on our list here, we've got, hey, just as a quick reminder, I just want to remind everybody, if you're just joining the stream today, we're talking about YouTube. We're talking about all things related to YouTube and being a YouTube content creator. This stream is brought to you by TubeBuddy. I've got a link to them down in the description. If you're a YouTuber, you should be using it. It's co-brought to you by, or co-sponsored by Streamyard, which is a live streaming tool. You should be using that as well. In addition to that, I also want to bring your attention to TubeSpanner, which has had like a full redesign, a bunch of new tools added to it as well. It's kind of like it's not a new tool on the scene, but with this fresh update, it's almost like a new tool on the scene, so to speak. But it's going to become something that, you know, that like if you're a content creator, you're going to be using TubeSpanner eventually. If you're using it now or not, I'm not sure, but you're going to be using it eventually. But with you know, those things, I definitely recommend you check those out. And I also want to let you know, if you're a content creator, if you're a live streamer, if you're making videos, podcasts, whatever, we also have a free music service for you as well, called Creator Mix. So I just want to make sure that I bring your attention to those things. And one thing, just a heads up as well, with TubeSpanner, they have a notepad attached to it. So I have this little notepad thing that I stick up here to just kind of remind people to take notes on it. So if you are like, hey, I would love to have, you know, something I could take notes on, in addition to sharing my content out on a regular basis and help me write scripts and all that stuff, definitely go to tubespanner.com and check that out. So next up, we've got, let's see here as we keep on going. We got Chantel dropping all kinds of links in here for you to kind of keep everybody on track with that big list of stuff that I just went through. Thank you for that, Chantel. I appreciate it. So let's see here. So as we keep on trucking here, we've got Bill. Thanks for the super chat, man. I appreciate it. So as we keep on trucking, we've got Stormy Sky Rail Productions. Stormy Sky Rail Productions does daily content. The type of channel is trains, weather, and some miscellaneous. And the goal of the channel is to have fun and make money. And the question is, currently we upload a video every day. If we decide to change that and do one every other day, do you think our channel would take a big hit? Also, thanks for the tip on cinnamon in the coffee. It's a game changer. High five, fist bump to cinnamon in the coffee. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, so when it comes to uploading every day and taking a break, in some cases, you might find your channel performs better. So I worked with the channel. They make content about cars, and with that particular channel, first they were putting out like a video a week, and then they scaled it up to 3 videos a week. Channel started rising. They're like, hey, let's go daily. So they started going daily content, and then, you know, it started doing better. And they're like, hey, let's go like 3 times a day, because they were just super fired up about it. We're like, okay, let's do it. So they went 3 times a day, and then like it started doing even better. And then everything just kind of plateaued. And then once that plateau happened, it was like, wait a minute, you know, we just kind of hit this wall. Like, what's going on? So we're like, okay, let's try ramping it down and see what happens. And then went back to 3 times per day. Things started doing a little bit better. Now, I'm pretty sure, because I haven't checked in on them in a while, but now I think they're doing like a video or 2 per week, and like everything's going awesome on their YouTube channel. So when it comes to, you know, your cadence of upload, it's definitely something to experiment with, you know, as you're getting started, and even once you are already, you know, you got your stride rolling, so to speak. It's also something that you know, definitely want to experiment from time to time, if and only if you're hitting walls, so to speak, with, you know, with the goals that you're trying to reach with the channel. Shark Scrapper saying, I love the news hit. I hope you decide to keep doing that. You know, it's fun. It's definitely fun. And another part of that as well is that it also, you know, it also makes sure that I'm also staying like as up to date on things as I possibly can as well. Because sometimes, you know, because YouTube's putting out stuff so fast now, like sometimes if you don't like check in on it, or like, you know, hey, I'm going to focus on, you know, doing some of these other things this week, like trying to get my live streaming set up together or something, then it's like, you know, I'll have people come in here and ask me about stuff, and I'm like, oh, I didn't even know they, you know, released that yet. So, you know, like because of that, I'm like, hey, you know, let's also, you know, use it as that as well, just to, you know, make sure that I'm as up to date as I can possibly be, you know, for the sake of, you know, being able to answer, you know, questions and stuff like that too. Let's see here. So as we keep on trucking, next up on our list here says, oh, hey, really quick. Andrew Can says, hey, Nick, thoughts on YouTube channel guidelines? So this is a good question. So I'm sure if you've interacted with my channel, hey, if you're leaving comments, you should be leaving comments on my videos, by the way, everybody. But anyway, when it comes to the channel guidelines that he's talking about there, so basically what happens is YouTube has this feature now where you can go down and you can set it up in your channel settings to where when somebody goes to leave a comment on your channel, they can get like a little list of like your channel guidelines. I think it's cool. I think it's kind of interruptive, but it's just a little nudge to remind people to subscribe, that kind of stuff. And it also just kind of sets a tone, so to speak, I think, for the community. So I think, if it's used right in that regard, in terms of just kind of like, hey, just be cool to people and, be cool to people, remember to subscribe for this type of content, blah, blah, blah. Then I think in that case, it's definitely, a win, so to speak. But outside of that, I think it is a little bit, interruptive. So I'm going to be really curious to see if they keep it or not. Let's see here. So as we keep on going down this list here, we got Stormy Rail. I think we did Stormy Rail already. Yes, we did. So next up on our list, we're number 21 already. We're flying. We're like, pew, like light speed in here. Woo, like James Webb, like flying through here, looking at the, looking at this light that's been, I don't even know where I was going with that. Never mind. Okay. So let's keep on going. So I was trying to make like a James Webb telescope like joke, but it just bombed completely, just completely failed. SMA Sky. Hey, at least we're talking about skies. So we're kind of tying this in. This works. So SMA Skies says they do astronomy and astrophotography content. Even better. That's good. That ended up working out. The goal of the channel is as an outlet for my astronomy hobby to share with others that are interested. And the question is, when I was watching a video, if somebody watches it and fast forward, say 1.5 or 2 times, does that affect the view time? Yes. If a video is 10 minutes long and a viewer watches it in 2 times, does YouTube count that as 5 minutes or 10 minutes? 5 minutes. So basically, based on the speed that somebody watches your video, instead of thinking of it from the perspective of this is watch time in this situation, instead of thinking of it in terms of watch time, think of it from the perspective of on page time, right? Which is the same thing as watch time, essentially. So if somebody watches your video in double time, then you're getting half of the watch time that you'd normally get because they're not actually experiencing that video for that longer period of time. Great question. And that one's kind of like a rarity. It pops up from time to time, but I love getting fresh questions like that. So next up, we've got Love DIY, and they do personal blog vlog. The goal of the channel is helping people understand the end of life. Wait, we did this one already. And then the question, I'll just answer this one really quick. Do affiliates have to be listed according to policy? If you mean, do you need to disclose that you're promoting something as an affiliate? Absolutely. So you can do that in your description. You can do it in the video content itself. If you want to play by like the rules, the strict rules, then in that case, every time you mention something, you need to mention, if you're going to be making money, if somebody click on it, you need to make sure that you're mentioning that. Next on our list here, we've got, hey, if you're just joining the stream, just a heads up, we're talking about YouTube. Everybody here is a YouTube content creator, or they're going to be a YouTube content creator. So if you're, a YouTuber, just want to let you know, like these are your folks. We're all going through the same thing you are in terms of publishing videos and hoping they perform well and laying in bed at night thinking to yourself, like, man, what could I do that people would like really, really, really love, right? Like, we're all going through that with you. So, so this next one is from Mommy, Andy, and Yuri. And they do motherhood content. The goal of the channel is to monetize, inspire moms like me. And the question is, what is a good mobile that I would use for taking videos? Because I'm using a Red 9C. Early this afternoon, I did a live stream, but when I uploaded the video, it was blurry. So in terms of like a mobile device, like a phone, the iPhones are fantastic. Any of the new phones that you can get right now are fantastic if you're looking for a mobile solution. Like I would just go and I would get just like one of the top phones. Of course, Google around a little bit, watch some YouTube videos on the ones that have, the best optics or the best, cameras on them and stuff. Best cameras and microphones, because you're gonna need that combination. But like all the flagship phones will have you covered. And D, my brother D, who actually specializes in mobile, content creators, he says just get a new iPhone 13 mini. Like just go that route. Let's see here. So next up on our list, we've got number 24. 24 is TH Plays. TH Plays says they do have a Roblox channel. Got a gamer in here. Goal of the channel is to make this a real job, and I just love making videos. And the question, so I do a lot of live streams on Roblox, Bed Wars, and I was wondering on how I can get more people in my stream. My average is around 40 people live actually watching me. So when it comes to getting more people in your stream, the very first thing that can be helpful is just consistency. Show up, pick your times that you're going to stream and just show up all the time. So show up, say, hey, I'm streaming at these times in these days, and show up and just keep doing it time after time after time after time. That's the first way. And then that way you slowly grow as people slowly get more and more familiar with your streams. In addition to that, scheduling your stream in advance is another thing that you can do in terms of just letting people know that, hey, I got the stream coming up on this weekend, or I got the stream coming up on Tuesday, or, whatever it is that you stream, schedule it a couple days in advance just to, give people the heads up. In addition to that, if you are not using other social media platforms, start. So you want to make sure that you start using like Twitter, for example, start interacting with other gamers there. Don't like spam or anything, just start joining the conversation. And then by joining the conversation, I have a video about sneaky ways YouTubers or new YouTubers can get views. Go and watch that video because that particular video shows you all the different things that you set up so that as you're just interacting on these platforms naturally, that people can also find out about your YouTube channel and things like that. That's another one because I mentioned before,
if you're enjoying the show, remember to give it a thumbs up and share it with a friend right now.
I mentioned before about YouTube being a long game. This is one of those, additional elements of that is you want to go ahead and get some of these things set up. So as you're interacting normally and as you're, being a part of the community, then people can, run into your, content, find out about your YouTube channel that way, and then you can slowly grow it that way. So then as you're interacting, with other people that play Roblox, you're interacting with, Roblox, the company and all that, then, some other people will see you there. And as long as you're being, cordial, then some people will come and check out your Twitter account. They'll follow you there. And then that's one place where when you go live, you can, make a post and let people know you're going to be live, going live so that they can, come and participate. Also thinking about it from the perspective of the replay. So one thing that has been valuable on my channel is when I do leave streams up, it gives people the opportunity to come in and see the value that comes out of this in terms of, the questions that get answered and all that. So, so because of that, by having the streams remain on the channel, then people get a taste of what actually goes on in the stream, and then they can make the call. And if they want to come in and hang out and be a part of what it is that we do here on Saturdays. Next up on our list here, we're on number 25 already, and we're like flying here, and I'm not going to make any more space jokes. Natasha's Nuggets says that they do Bible-based channel. Goal of the channel is to get the word of God out on the internet. And the question is, I use my video editor to create an intro screen with a picture and music from the library. Is that a good idea? So I wouldn't even have a logo intro. If you mean that you have, like when your video starts and you have like something going on at the very beginning of your video that is not the actual content or that is not the hook in terms of, explaining to people what it is that you're going to be doing in the video, I wouldn't even use that at all. As long as that's the thing you're talking about. But what you don't want to do is when somebody clicks on a video, you don't want to interrupt. The moment that they click on that video, you don't want to build a wall between that click and the content that you're going to be giving. Or the content, let's put that in a more important phrase. You don't want to put a wall between their click and the content they are expecting to get, right? So you want to make sure that that you don't interrupt it with any type of like intros or things like that. Now, if you want to add it after your hook, it's just like a really quick, 3-second segue or something. That's okay. You might still lose some viewership there, which at scale, can be damaging. But if you're like, hey, I got to get this intro in there for the sake of branding or whatever, a lot of marketers are like really, like bent on making sure they get that in there. So if you're somebody like that, then in that case, just make it as short as you possibly can. Just use it as a quick segue to get you from, the hook of the video, or the end of the hook, into the actual content itself. Next up on our list here, we're on question number 26 now. And if you're just joining us, just as a heads up, I've got a link to the form that we're pulling these questions from down in the description below. The next question here is from D Movie Man. D Movie Man says they do bi-weekly content. The type of channel is film criticism. And the goal of the channel is to celebrate cinema, but also potentially increase visibility and carve out a professional space in that industry as a film critic. That's cool. Question is, how long does it take to view when your audience is online in YouTube Studio. It sounds helpful, but it seems that option is never available. So it should pop up. I know some people have had problems with that. We've had some problems with the channel members too, to where some people, you know, like they wouldn't have it for a while and then all of a sudden it would just pop up. So what you're dealing with right now is a common thing. In terms of the amount of time it takes, I really don't know. I wish I had an answer for you there, but I don't. I know that is something that people do deal with from time to time. Some people will get it right away. Other people, it'll take, you know, more time than it should in order to get that information. I'm going to guess, and again, like this is like, you know, I don't have the answer for you, but I'm going to guess that it just has something to do with, you know, the amount of views that you get on your videos, in terms of YouTube being able to accurately deem like, hey, you know, out of 10,000 total views on the channel or 5,000 total views on the channel, this is, you know, for those people that are interacting positively with this content, this is the time that they're online. That would be my assumption on how it might work. But again, you know, that's just my theory on it. Like I'm not sure. So next up, we did The Movie Man already. I wish I had an answer for you on that one, but you know, if I don't have an answer, I'll let you know. So the next one up is the Q Fam. The Q Fam, they upload every other day. It's a family channel, and the goal of the channel is to provide friendly, fun family videos to entertain, teach, and uplift everyone. There's a bit of a tongue twister. The question: I have 700 subscribers, but whenever I post a video, I only get about 200 views. Is it true that YouTube doesn't push videos out to subscribers, but more to a new audience? So they push videos out to people that are going to be the best fit for the content at that moment in time. In most cases, some of those people will also be subscribers, but here's where that breaks down. So let's say out of those 700 people that are subscribed to your YouTube channel, let's say that only 100 of them have interacted with your content in the last 90 days. Then in that case, and let's say everybody else has been a new viewer, then in that particular case, 600 of those people are not actively engaged in your channel. So therefore, the people that are engaged in the channel are going to be the ones that are most likely to see it and, you know, respond to it when you first publish the video. From there, based on how those people respond to it, then YouTube is going to expand that bubble, so to speak, in terms of the amount of people that they're putting it in front of. And that is where you might start, you know, dipping your toes into some of those, you know, additional subscribers on your channel, while at the same time also getting the content in front of a lot of new viewers as well. Let's see here. Next up on our list here, we're on question number 28 already. Man, we're flying through these. Okay, so this is Adrian Mullet. Adrian Mullet says that they do random videos until I find a niche. The goal of the channel is to find a niche and make high quality videos. And the question is, how can I take my channel to the next level? Find your niche. So I've, like I mentioned this earlier in the stream today, but I have a video that I put out a few weeks ago, talking about how to start a channel to earn money. If you're trying to earn money or not, which I think you might've mentioned was one of your things. No, it wasn't. So if you're trying to earn money or not though, that video will actually help you in terms of niche research. So when you're looking at other, you know, YouTube channels, just kind of some things that you can keep track of there, just to try to get an idea of, you know, if that niche is going to be the right thing for you or not. But at the end of the day, when you're trying to narrow down your niche, you can do what you're doing. And that's actually what YouTube recommends in terms of, hey, I'm just going to put out videos about things that I like. And then as soon as I have one do better than the others, I'm going to double down and start making that content. So just make sure as you're experimenting with this right now, since you're just getting started, just make sure that all the content that you're putting out, that you're not just like, hey, let me make a video about this and see if this works, or let me make a video about this, see if it works. Because YouTube is a long game, and because you're going to be doing this for a long period of time, you need to make sure that you theme your channel. It's really important to make sure that you are only publishing content that you would be totally cool if you have one of those videos go viral or just takes off and, you know, you start getting a substantial amount of views, or just more views, where you would be totally cool with saying, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to make content like this on a regular basis now. So if you're like, you know what, I couldn't make content about this thing that I'm getting ready to publish this video on for the next, like, you know, year, then in that case, you probably don't want to publish that video, because if it does well, then it's going to kind of lock you into that, because you're going to be growing your channel based around the performance of that video. And if the rest of the content doesn't resonate with those viewers, then you're kind of, you know, creating an obstacle for yourself that doesn't need to be there. Next question is, we're on number 29 here. So this is from DIY with Cam. What's going on, Cam? Hope you're awesome. They do homeowner DIY content. The goal of the channel is to help people solve tasks around the house that they can undertake as a DIY project instead of paying someone or buying a new product. And the question is, I just passed 500 subscribers. High five, fist bump to you. Congratulations. 12,000 watch hours and 315,000 views total. 50% of these came in the last 90 days.
If you're enjoying the show, remember to give it a thumbs up and share it with a friend right now.
Now my channel's starting to slow this month as my videos doing well are search-based. One has over 100,000 views, 50% search, 50% browse. What can I do to turn search viewers looking for a specific topic into viewers of my other helpful content? Make it easy for them to find. So I call this a watch time trap, but it's just a fancy way of saying, or a memorable way of saying, make your content as relevant content as easy as possible for the people that are interacting with your content. This applies to everybody that's hanging out here. So the idea is when you have people coming and interacting with your channel, it doesn't matter where the traffic's coming from. If it's coming from search, if it's coming from, home pages or suggested video, it doesn't matter. When you have somebody watching a video, right? Let's just narrow this down to one video. When you have somebody come into one video, however it is they get there, if they enjoy that content, the best thing you can do is make it easy for them to click and watch more of your content. So the ways that you do this is through your end screens. If you're getting people to the end of your videos, if you're not, then you can do the same thing with YouTube cards. You also make sure that you pin a comment, linking people into, that next video that you want them to watch or a playlist of videos that you want them to watch. And then of course you make sure that you also add those to your, also relevant links to your video descriptions as well. So the reason that you do this is because if somebody comes in, they're like, wow, this is great stuff. Some people will click on your username, they'll explore your channel, they'll dig in, see what's going on. Those are people that are typically, familiar with YouTube and, that care enough to do that. Then you're gonna have other people that are like, hey, this is great, love to watch it. Maybe I'll subscribe, maybe I'll come back, watch some stuff, or not. But if you don't make it easy for people to go and watch more of your content, then that might be as far as they get, and they might not ever click on another one of your videos again. So because of that, when you have that opportunity that you've captured them, right? Like everybody hanging out here right now, right? Like I have your attention right now. So if this video was coming to an end or this stream is coming to an end right now, the best thing I could do, and I don't do this at the end of my live streams typically, but the best thing I could do right now, if my stream is coming to an end, is I would have a specific video based on, growing your channel or, whatever it was that we were talking about in the stream. I would have that here, and then I would, basically build up to that. And then I would say, oh, hey, all the things that we talked about today, these will only get you so far. These, these things are great. But, if you really want to take things to the next level, make sure you click into this video right here because, it's going to share, tons of valuable information with you or whatever. So the idea there is that when somebody comes in, then it basically, it's like, hey, you're getting value from this. If you want to continue receiving this value and you're enjoying this content, then here's another video that's going to be a good fit for you based on you proving that you're interested in this thing that I'm talking about by clicking on the video in the first place, enjoying it all the way to the end of the video. All I'm doing is simply making it easy for you to click on this next video. And in the part of like building it up or selling that next click, and that's how YouTube frames it, is like, hey, you want to sell that next video. But when you're selling that next click, the whole idea is to think about the relevance. Like, okay, if somebody comes in on a video based on one topic, what else do I have on my channel that would be a perfect fit for this viewer based on what they prove they were interested in by clicking on and watching this particular video? And then once you identify that video in your channel, then you want to make sure you're recommending that. And you want to do this, you want to make sure you're planning this stuff out before you make that, or before you make, any of your future videos that you're going to be making. So you want to plan out, okay, what videos I'm going to be linking to, how am I going to interlink, all these things on my channel. And by doing that, what you do is you create that environment or that opportunity for yourself to where when people come to the end of the video, you're not just saying, like, your video doesn't come to an end and you're like, oh, hey, by the way, if you're enjoying this, make sure you comment, like, subscribe, buy my merch, come visit me at this thing I'm going to be at on Tuesday, go and do this, that, and the other thing, high five your whoever, like, you don't want to go through that whole, process and then recommend it. You want to have your video trucking along, and then before anybody expects it or even knows it's going to happen, drop the end screen on them where you're recommending, you again, build it up, sell that next click, and then get them into that next video. So if you can do that, you're making it easier for people to, one, stay focused on what they care about, which isn't subscribing, which isn't commenting, which isn't liking. That's the stuff you sprinkle in, in different places in the video content itself if you're trying to like really maximize things. But the whole approach with this is you just get people to the end and then you get them to click on that video based on their interests. So it's all about them, right? Just making it easy for them to find what they want. And in addition to that, using the pinned comments is the same exact thing. So for people that do go down to your comment section, then you have a little message in terms of why it would be valuable to them. Like, hey, if you're trying to XYZ, or you want to do this, you want to figure this out, or hey, I just taught you how to build or hey, I just showed you the right paint that you need for your deck because you're doing like homeowner DIY content. So it's like, hey, I just showed you the right, stain that you want to use to, get the most life out of your deck. But, when you're putting your deck together, you got to make sure you're using the right, screws. I actually made an entire video reviewing all the different, types of screws that you can, use for your deck that are going to, help you, that will stay there, long-term through the weather and this, that, and the other thing. You can check out that video right here, right? Level that up by saying, hey, you just watched this video on how to stain your deck. That means you're in the process of actually, building a deck, or you're at least, thinking about it. I have this entire playlist right here of the entire process and all the different tools and all the different things that I use to build my deck. Click into that playlist right here. And by the time you're done with that playlist, you're going to have a deep understanding of everything you need to do to create an awesome deck that, that you and your family can have fun on in years to come, or fun with years to come, whatever. So the whole idea with that is basically just essentially, leading people into that next video. So you can't go as hard in terms of the messaging, like in a pinned comment. You can a little bit, but you can't go as hard in it there, because you got to make sure the link's visible and all that. But the idea is just to make it easy for people to find more of your content. Really long answer, but hopefully that answered your question there. So really quick, Dave Matney, thank you for the super chat. Dave says, is there any advantage of not joining the partner program? 885 subscribers, 6,000 hours of watch time. Thanks. So in your case specifically, you want to join the partner program because you're making real estate videos. So right now, as it stands, and anybody making service-based content, if you happen to be a company, anybody that does anything for your company, this is something you got to listen to. So when you are putting all this work into the YouTube videos that you're making, if you're not in the partner program, one of your competitors can just advertise on your videos. So they can just have one ad made, run it across all of your videos, all those years of videos you've made, all those hours and hours and hours worth of video content that you've made. They can just run ads right on top of your stuff, and there's nothing you can do about it. YouTube's going to show the ads. However, if you're in the partner program, you can block specific advertisers. So if you find, hey, this person's running ads on my stuff, you can grab the URL and you can go and you can actually block them inside of your account. In addition to that, you can just go ahead and get a list together. If you're like, hey, I keep seeing their ads on other realtors or, other, service providers in my area, then I'm just going to go ahead and be, a little bit active on this. I'm going to go ahead and block them, there. So you definitely want to get into the partner program specifically in your case so that you can make sure that your competitors don't run ads on your content. Outside of that, opting out of the partner program, I really don't know a benefit of not getting into the partner program. Yeah, I would get into the partner program under all circumstances that I can think of right now off the top of my head. Because even if you're like, hey, I'm not even going to turn on ads, then that still gives you the ability. Like there was a couple of weeks ago, there was somebody in the stream and they were asking about, they were starting like a music channel to help people go to sleep. And they weren't monetized yet or anything like that. And they were also talking about they were wanting to use their YouTube channel to make money. And part of the thing with making money on YouTube is running ads. But in their particular case, they need to get into the partner program. They need to reevaluate the whole approach that they're taking because one, they need to get into the partner program so they can turn ads off so they can give people that chill out experience so they don't get woken up in the middle of the night by some ad playing on the content. But in addition to that, they also need to do that for the sake of, just having that control over their ads. Because if they don't, or let's back that whole thing up, like they need to think of it from the people I'm trying to reach are going to be using my content to sleep. So therefore, maybe this isn't the right content for me to try to make money off of, at least these particular videos that are for sleep. Maybe I'll use some of my other content for that. So, when it comes to getting into the partner program, absolutely try to get into the partner program and you can do that kind of stuff. Since you're a channel member, just as a heads up, like once you get into the partner program, if you need to know like, hey, where do I go and block people and stuff like that, just drop a message in the Facebook group and just make sure you tag me. Then I can just, show you some screenshots or do a quick screen recording to show you how to do it. I actually have the video already. I can just send it to you. Just a heads up also for, more established creators in here, anybody that's, working with brands. Actually, I'm just going to give you, all right, here we go. If you sell things as an affiliate, if you sell your own products, or if you work with companies in a sponsorship capacity, you also want to be in the partner program because everything that I just mentioned to him in terms of blocking competitors, you can do in terms of like if you have your own products and people are advertising on your video, then you can, kind of step in the way of them being able to do that. So there's one. In addition to that, if you promote things as an affiliate, sometimes advertising campaigns, you'll end up as collateral damage. And since your video is about a particular thing, like let's say, for example, you make a video about this mouse, right? If you make a video about this mouse and you're trying to sell this as as an affiliate, let's say you do a review and you're selling it as an affiliate through Amazon, then let's say Razer, who makes this mouse, let's say that they have some other type of ad campaign going on. And because your video is about that, they're keyword targeting with their campaign, and then their ad just keeps showing up in front of yours, and they're essentially taking sales from you. So if you promote anything as an affiliate, like for example, I promote TubeBuddy as an affiliate, I promote Streamyard, like I promote all kinds of stuff as an affiliate. The first thing I do when I'm like, yeah, I'm going to start promoting these things as an affiliate is I go through and I block their URLs inside of my ad account so that I can make sure that I don't get crossfire or collateral damage, so to speak, in an ad campaign. Same exact thing goes if you are, providing any type of like services or anything like that. So you just want to make sure that this is what I'm trying to stress here. I would just want to make sure that that you have blocking controls inside of your AdSense account once you're in the partner program. So depending on how it is that you're, using your YouTube channel and what you're using it for, you want to keep that in mind. And another thing that I want to just kind of help you here for those of you that are established already is if you have a sponsor and you're in negotiations with that sponsor and they're kind of like, not sure, or you're just like, hey, I just want to add more value to them, because they're hooking me up and I'm hooking them up and like everything's going awesome here and we have this like long-term contract. If it's like a video or 2 or 3, you don't want to do this, but in order to kind of work in or, use it as leverage to negotiate for a longer term contract, you can also mention to the brands that you're working with, hey, you can also send me a list of your competitors and I'll add them into my, AdSense account, into my blocking controls there. And then they are also not going to be able to advertise on my videos either. So then that way, any of the companies that you're working with, the only exposure that they get from your content, they'll still get it on other channels, but from your content, the only exposure they get to that type of product or service is only going to be through your video content, not on any ads that are shown on your videos. So you can use that as like a leveraging, or for leverage, so to speak. So next up on our list here, that's fun because, I don't get to talk about stuff like that often. So that was a great opportunity to do it. So, so thanks for getting me on that ride. So next up on our list here, we've got Tom's Reaction Channel. Tom's Reaction Channel says they upload every other day. The type of channel is a pixel profile. I have a pixel profile picture and a banner. The goal of the channel is 1,000 subscribers. And the question is, YouTube Shorts are dying. Why are they dying for me? I was making one before and it worked, but then now they just start dying. So I moved on from that. I'm now making long form content and making reaction videos, and does 50 videos count to grow my channel long form content because 25 videos. Okay. What they're asking here is they were making shorts. Now their shorts aren't performing. They've made 25 videos. Is it going to take them 50 videos in order to start getting results? Your next video or short can give you the results that you need. However, that's going to come down to you and the choice that you make topically, how you're grabbing their attention, how you're getting them to click on it, the value that you're giving in the actual content itself. Like, it's going to come down to you. Just making a bunch of videos, it's not enough, right? You have to be intentional about the process that you're taking. I mean, you can just do it and have fun and you can get results, that way too. But like, if you're like, hey, things aren't working, then that means that you need to start being a lot more intentional about what you're doing, defining all different things, about the content. Why should somebody click on this? Why would this title, resonate with the people I'm trying to reach? Why would this way that I'm starting my video cause somebody to keep watching? I'm a minute into this video. Does this particular section add value to the viewers or add any type of context that I need for the future of this video or whatever? But you need to make sure that you're defining these types of things so that you can perform, on YouTube, because just uploading videos, it's like that by itself isn't, that's not the thing that's going to do it unless people are responding to your content, because everything on YouTube, it's performance based. So that simply means that if your content does well in terms of people are, responding well to it in all aspects, then YouTube's going to just show it to more people. If they're not, then they're not. So, or if it's not, then they are not. So because of that, it's not necessarily about, like if your shorts are dying, then in that case, it could be because the topic that you make your shorts about is more competitive. It could be because there are a lot more people making shorts now. Like, there could be a ton of different reasons for it. But if your shorts are dying, that means that you need to up your game in terms of the shorts that you're making so that you can compete better. Because what's happening right now, like, if your channel's underperforming, and we all have to, look in the mirror when this happens. If your channel's underperforming based on the goals you have for the channel, then in that particular case, then you have to say, if I'm underperforming and there's other people in my space that are not, that means I'm losing right now. So if I'm, not hitting my goals for what I'm trying to do for my channel, then I need to roll up my sleeves. I need to start, working on this in order to be able to compete, with the people that I'm, competing with. Because not only are you competing with people in your space, but you're also literally competing with everything that YouTube thinks that the target viewers that you're trying to reach would be interested in, or is likely to be interested in. So, like, you have to come to play, so to speak, if you are, if you're going to be, if you're just like, hey, I'm just, wanting to, just grow a small community and, just connect with some other people that are into what I'm doing, then in that case, you don't have to be as aggressive or as serious with it. But if you're like, hey, I'm trying to actually do something with this, then in that case, like, you have to come to play. You gotta roll up your sleeves and get dirty, so to speak, in terms of, like, really trying to understand your audience and trying to learn how to, make videos a better way, present your content in a better way, coming up with, better topics or fresh topics, things like that. Like, you have to do that. iFun Chris is our next question. Says the channel is fun coming your way. The goal is 500 subs to get the community tab and making money. And the question is, how many uploads to my channel? That's your call, man. Like, as much as you want to upload, you can. So if you want to upload a lot, you can. If you want to upload less, you can. But what I recommend is that you just pick a cadence and that you continue with that cadence. Of course, you also want to look at how your content's performing and all of that as well, because, if your content's not performing well, then in that case, you might need to make more so that you can get more experience and you can learn how to make better content through the practice of making content. If you publish once a month and your content, blows up, once a month, then, you're fine. Just continuing to publish once a month. That's totally okay. Terry Leak is our next question here. Our
next question.
They've been on YouTube for less than 6 months. They have a travel channel. The goal of the channel is to show the world places to visit. That's cool. Question, would travel vlogs be more popular than cinematic style travel vlogs? So when it comes to any type of content, different styles are going to resonate with different audiences. Some people love the eye candy. Like, they just want to watch and see all the pretty shots and see all the, slow motion stuff that's going on and see these, like, cool drone shots and things like that. Other people, they're like, hey, I'm going to be checking that place out soon. I don't care what it looks like. I just want to know the places that I need to avoid when I go there so I don't get myself into trouble. Or I need to know the places that I need to check out so that I can get myself in trouble. It just kind of depends on, the approach. But, when it comes to picking the style of your content, just think about what it is that you're offering and think about who it is that would be the most likely candidate for that content. And then think, okay, for that type of content, like, what would be, appropriate, or what would be the best experience that I can give for people that are interested in that type of content. So you don't have to do cinematic stuff with travel content for the sake of doing cinematic stuff. You would need to do cinematic stuff for the sake of, like, hey, I'm in these cool places, I'm putting these cool shots together, and I'm trying to reach people that are maybe daydreaming about traveling, or maybe they're traveling, they're going to those places, they want to see some of the beauty before they go, something like that. Whereas, like I was saying before, if you're like, hey, I'm just trying to, like, help people know that, hey, if they're traveling to Greece, then in that case, these are, some specific things that they need to know, specific words or specific places or, whatever it is. And I'm just going to take my phone and I'm going to show them and I'm going to talk to them on there and all that. And the value that they'll get from that would be the same as the value that they would get from, watching some cinematic travel video, even though they're shot in two totally different styles. Let's see here. As we keep on trucking here, we've got our
next question.
Let's see here from Atrix. Atrix says that they do gaming content. The goal of the channel, says, I'm uploading because my milestone right now is 100 subscribers. Super cool. Super cool. And the question is, I make videos that usually get 9 views a day and recently posted a video that got 1,000 in a day. Currently it's on 2.6 thousand. I'm now feeling that if I don't post quick enough, then I won't get the same reaction on my new subscribers, will forget about me, and I won't want to watch my future content. What should I do? This is the mental game that we have to go through as content creators. So when you publish a video and it does well, instead of thinking like, oh, I got to publish quickly in order to, make sure they see the content, think of it like this. Think, okay, this video did well. Why do I think it did well? Instead of like, knee-jerk reaction approach, think, okay, I'm gonna step back for a second. And even though I'm gonna try to get a video out on my normal upload cadence, why do I think this video did well? Why do I think people responded to this topically more? Why do I think people clicked on it more? Why do I think people enjoyed it for a longer period of time? Why do I think they left more comments? Why do I think they liked it more? Things like that. Why do I think they shared it more? Like, you want to start getting into that side of things when you have content do better. Sonic David, our next question here, this one's actually coming from the chat, says, how is your camera switching angles on a live? So I'm actually going to turn off the camera switching so I can show you. So I have this device right here. It's called an ATEM Mini Extreme. They have different versions of this. They have ATEM Minis, they have ATEM Mini Pros, they have ATEM Mini Pro ISOs. And with these, depending on the models that you get, you'll have either 4 camera options, or with this one, you have 8 camera options. They also make like more that have like bigger devices, but they're more like pro level. But basically with this device right here, I can put up to 8 cameras in here. So I'm actively using, I think 6 or 5 or 6. Hold on, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I'm actively using 5. And then I have this camera as the number 6. So with this particular setup, I can connect up to 8 cameras. But in terms of it switching, this particular device right here, it comes with software, and that software allows me to set up macros. So I can say, and this all happens like, it's all stored now in the computer, or actually in the device, but I can set it up to where I say, okay, switch to this camera for a certain amount of time, switch to this camera for a certain amount of time, then to this camera, then back to this one, then now go to that one, and then back to this one, then to that one. So like I set up that macro, and then I put it on a loop. And then once it's on that loop, then all I have to do is just turn it on or off. And then, that loop, it just sits there and does the whole thing. So, so everything's automated once you set it up that one time, but it's called an ATEM Mini. If you just Google ATEM Mini, you'll see the different options for it. Let's see here. Tinkerman Mick, what's up, man? Says, hey, Nick, hope you're doing well. I am. Hope that you are also doing well. Nice to see you in the chat today. So, so your next question that we have here on our list is we have, let's see here. Square Table Degenerates says that they've been on YouTube for a year or more. They do entertainment content. The goal is to make people laugh. The question is, what was the update you teased yesterday for live streamers? I'm not sure yet. I haven't checked it out yet. So I'll be checking that out probably tomorrow, or maybe even, I might even wait until next week. I'm not sure, but I'll probably check it out tomorrow just because I'm excited to know what it is that they were showing as well. But I'll be talking about it as long as it's worthy, as long as it's something that's actually interesting, which I'm assuming it is. Then I'll be talking about it in that in my next update stream this coming Friday. But the channel name here for our next question is from Plant Obsessed. Plant Obsessed says that they do worm farming. That's cool. And the goal of the channel, hey, at least you're not a lead farmer, right? For those of you that get that reference. But the goal of the channel says to educate people on vermiculture and how it can keep items out of landfills. And the question is, my channel's videos are following several types of worm systems and types of worms. I have some series that are fan favorites, but month over month, the number of views per video on the same series can range from 400 to 3,000. How can I figure out why one does 10 times better? So the very first thing that you do is you come in and you go and you look at your stats, because your stats are going to show you, your stats are essentially a mirror of how people respond to what it is that you're doing. So when you're looking at your analytics, it looks like just a bunch of numbers, but numbers and graphs, right? But when you're looking at it, it's important to make sure that you're thinking to yourself that those numbers are a reflection of how humans have interacted with your content when they've seen it on the platform. It's also a mirror. Excuse me, it's also a mirror of the viewer experience that people are having with your content as well. So what you want to do first is you want to go into your analytics. You want to look at things like, audience retention. You want to look at things like your click-through rate. You want to look at your overall engagement in terms of comments, likes, things like that. The amount of subscribes that, that video has generated. You want to look at all of those things. And then you have to start, and this is where it gets like a little bit like, it comes down to like, hey, I just got to try some stuff, is once you notice those numbers, then you have to start workshopping it in your brain based on the knowledge that you have of your audience. So let's say that you notice that on that video, based on the amount of impressions compared to your other videos, that the click-through rate on that video is through the roof compared to everything else that you're doing. What you have to do is you have to say to yourself, okay, My click-through rate is through the roof on this. Why do I think that is? Is it the topic of the video, right? Because you have the 4 T's that are, you know, like the core of click-through rate, right? So it's like, okay, why is it the topic of this video and the amount of people that would be interested in this that cause such a high click-through rate on this? Because the topic is just something that's popular around the type of content that I make. Then you move on to the next T, and then from there, if you're like, yeah, you know what, this is a pretty popular topic, so I need to factor that in. The next thing, you move to the next T, which is your thumbnail. And then you say, okay, with this particular thumbnail, if the topic is definitely something that's popular, with this thumbnail, what about this thumbnail do I think might have grabbed people's attention? Or what about this thumbnail do I think might have compelled people to click on its own? And then you have to, you know, take that note. And then you move to the next T, which is your title. And then you have to say, okay, with this particular title, what about this do I think compelled people to click? What information do I have in the title? What is this title structured like in terms of the things that the people would see as this, you know, package was presented to them on YouTube? Where are important words in terms of keywords, things like that in my title that would help a viewer identify that this might be something that they're interested in. And the next one you got to think about is time or timing as the other T. So when it comes to the time or the timing, you know, like sometimes you might have a great video idea, but it's just not the right time to publish that video based on, you know, other things that might be happening around your space. And other times you might be like, hey, this is the perfect time for this because, you know, a lot of people are talking about this right now or whatever the thing is. So you have to make sure that you are thinking about those things in terms of the packaging from the outside, right? Because from the outside, you know, people have to click on it before they can come in and enjoy your video and give you those almost 3,000 views or those 3,000 views that you've gotten, sorry. So, so basically what you have to start doing there is out of those things, you have to start thinking, why do I think people would have responded better to these things? Why do I think, you know, they responded to this thumbnail? What was I showing in the thumbnail? Did I have words in it? Yes or no? Was I focusing on an imagery? What imagery was I focusing on? How does that imagery relate to the video that I'm talking about? Did I have 3 words on it? Did I have any words on it? Did I have 10 words on it? Like, you know, what was going on with the thumbnails? Was the main subject of the video or the thumbnail, was that focused over on the left-hand side, was on the right? And you just start taking notes on all these things, and you just start thinking, if I'm one of my viewers and I'm like trying to, you know, like I'm trying to find content like this, was, you know, what about, you know, all of these things from the outside is something I would resonate with. So you got to basically just put those theories out, and then you start testing those theories based on what you come up with from, you know, that introspection essentially, but you have to test those theories on new content. And then eventually, as you're testing those, you'll start finding like, oh, okay, when I make videos about these topics, or when I start, you know, titling my videos like this, or I start, you know, doing these types of things in my thumbnails, people respond to them more than they normally do. And that, you know, path will lay down in front of you. Same exact thing goes with the actual video content, is then you have to go and look at that, and you have to say, why do I think, you know, the things that happened in the beginning of this video, if people responded to that well, why do I think they responded to that well compared to the other ways that I do it? And then you have to start experimenting with that to figure out if that was even a you know, part of it or not. Because then in that case, you might find like, hey, in this particular video, I started it with just music and just like some scenery showing, and people stuck around for that. So now, instead of maybe some of my other videos where I just start the video like, hey, everybody, blah, 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 today we're blah, blah, blah. Maybe I'm going to try, for my next handful of videos, I'm going to try experimenting with starting my videos with just music and scenery and see how people respond to that before we get into the video, and see if that is something that help people, you know, continue watching or help them kind of commit to the video a little bit. So, you know, going through that process of trying to understand, one, these videos did well. This is what the analytics look like. Why are these analytics more positive, you know, compared to the other ones? And then you have to start applying your own theories to them, and then you test those theories through the additional content that you're putting out. So hopefully that made sense. So let's see here. So next up, let's see here. Doug says 4 super chats. Okay, yep, I will go in there and get those right now. So I have some super chats that I overlooked, and I'm going to go in here and get these right now. So let me scroll down. So science-based fitness, I got that one. I got iFund Chris already. So let me scroll down. We did How Would You Revive Old Videos? Okay, so next up we've got Tao Got Bloomed. Says, any tips for a seamless rebranding? Just rebrand. Like if you're gonna rebrand the channel, just go for it. In terms of a seamless rebrand, like no matter what, like there's gonna be one video that you publish that's going to, you know, be different than the other videos that you published. So just do it and embrace it, and don't worry about it being like a seamless thing, because you're gonna have a lot of content in your channel that's branded the other way, and then you're gonna have a lot of content in your channel into the future that's branded in the new way. So because of that, don't even worry about it being seamless. Just if you're going to rebrand and you've already decided that I'm gonna rebrand, then in that case, just you know, just rip off the Band-Aid and just go for it. Next up, we've got Learn Spanish World. Learn Spanish World says, is it worth collaborating with smaller channels or a waste of time? Absolutely it is. So, if you have a content creator, big or small, in terms of the channel size, and you're like, hey, this person makes really awesome stuff. They make great content. I would love to collaborate with them. I don't care if they've got 3 subscribers. Like, I ran across their channel randomly on Twitter, on Reddit or something, and they just make awesome stuff. So I want to be that person that gives that content creator a little bit more, attention based on what it is that I have going on my channel right now. I wouldn't look at the people that you're trying to collaborate with. I mean, if you're like, hey, I'm only doing this for channel growth, then in that case, you got to make sure that you are thinking of some of those things. But if you're like, hey, I just want to collaborate with people. I want to have friends that are content creators. And I want to start, just networking as a YouTuber. Collaborations are a great way to do it. And in my opinion, if somebody that has 100 subscribers can add value to someone's community that has 100,000 subscribers, then there isn't any reason that they shouldn't collaborate, as long as that person can put together content that is good enough in terms of quality and value and all that stuff that somebody would expect from that 100,000 subscriber channel. As long as they can deliver that, then there's no reason not to collaborate. And then Her Real Review says, Nick, I update vid. Do I lose videos and comments? Oh, we did that one already as well. And Valerie Hargett, super chat. Thank you for the super chat there also. So let's see here. So next up on our list here, we've got, we did the worm farming. So really quick.
If you're enjoying the show, remember to give it a thumbs up and share it with a friend right now.
I need to have that redone. Love it, but I need to have it redone. So we're just focusing on one thing, that thumbs up. Okay, Broken Home Podcast is our next question here. They do bi-weekly content. They have a podcast channel. The goal of the channel is sharing people's life stories, positive and negative. The question is, we're having a very hard time getting people to view our channel. We want to get our engagement up so we can continue to share people's life experience in hopes to inspire each other to do better. How can we get our engagement up? So you have a podcast channel. So the approach that you're going to take is going to be a little bit different. So in your case, of course, you are going to, need to make sure that when somebody comes into your podcast, that you don't have this big long logo sequence and all this stuff that is typical of podcast. You want to make sure that you get into the content. Like right when they come in on a conversation, right? And then you also want to make sure that you're also clipping out or cutting out some of your highlights so that you can also put that content up either on your main channel or on a secondary channel, so that the people that don't have the time right now to participate in the long form podcast, let's say if your podcasts are 30 minutes or an hour, if they don't have 30 minutes or an hour to give you in order to figure out if your content's right for them or not, if you do have bite-sized content, that content can pull, some traffic from homepages, suggested videos and whatnot, that will introduce people to you in short form. So then you can get them, to participate in the long form. So I would take that approach and make sure that, you are setting things up. Because when it comes to podcasting, because I've had several podcasts in the past. I actually still have one. We have one for this live stream as well, but all we're doing is taking this live stream, we're just putting it up, kind of raw. And then I have Comments Over Coffee, which is another, podcast that I have, and I'm actually recording content for now. So you'll get that, you'll start getting that soon for those of you that are already listening to it. If you're not, go subscribe to it on your favorite podcasting platform. It's right here on the screen. It's called Comments Over Coffee, because I'm going to be putting those out again soon as well. And, but basically what you want to do, as people that start podcasts, you think in your brain, like, okay, when I listen to podcasts, they have this, hey, and today we're going to be talking about XYZ with this person and so on and so forth. And then it cuts to this big long, logo. And then, it's like, hey, welcome to blah, blah, blah podcast featuring your blah, blah, blah with this, that, and the other thing, so on and so forth. And, it's just like this big long thing. On YouTube, you don't want to use that. You don't want to do that kind of stuff. That's fine for the audio version because people are listening to it, while they're doing other things. So it's not that big of a deal. But on YouTube, just get to the thing, right? So get to the actual content and start, at least having a good hook in there. And then if you are going to have some type of branded audio as a part of it, you want to make sure that that branded audio, that you have a version of it for YouTube and that you have a version for it for your audio version. So the version that you're putting on YouTube, that version needs to be as short as possible, like 3 seconds, 5 seconds max. And then for the long form, for the audio only version, not a big deal. You can make it as long as you want there. But for YouTube, you just have to think of the viewer experience on YouTube because you're competing with like video content. But one thing I can tell you, podcasts are growing like fire on YouTube. So getting into podcasting like on YouTube and doing it now, really good move that you're doing right there. But when it comes to, getting more engagement, ask for it. Make sure that for your YouTube viewers, while you're, talking to them on YouTube, that you do invite them to, subscribe, to like, to leave their thoughts in the comments. But instead of just saying, leave your thoughts, ask very specific questions that they can, throughout your episodes, ask very specific questions that they can simply put their answer to down in the comment section. And by doing that, you will start generating more engagement on your videos. Same exact thing, like, oh, hey, by the way, if you are watching or if you are listening to this or watching this on YouTube, if you're enjoying this episode so far, give us a thumbs up. We use that as a feedback mechanism, whatever the thing is. You just want to give them the call to action, give them a reason, or better, give them the reason first or the why first, and then, ask them for, for that engagement. Mr. Dutch Hack 10, super chat. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. And Sync Mind Binaural Beats Meditation. Super nice. Chat. Thank you for the super chat there as well. Binaural Beats. That's cool. I'm just making sure, double checking there. You don't have a question attached to that. Okay. All right. So, so next up on our list here, we've got Most Satisfying. Most Satisfying does daily content. They do it on an Android. The type of channel, Satisfying. The goal of the channel is to help people to be well satisfied. And the question is, my YouTube Shorts videos is growing, but my normal videos is not, and I don't know why. I'll tell you why. So when it comes to YouTube Shorts, the only thing you have to be good at is making videos, right? That's it. Because what's going to happen, somebody's going to swipe up, and when they swipe up, your video is going to be there, you grab their attention, and you start giving them that awesome content that you made. So it's easier to get views in Shorts because somebody doesn't have to choose your content. I'll say that again. It's easier to get views on Shorts and TikTok and Instagram Reels and any place else where they have vertical content to where people just swipe up and they see it. It's easier to get views there because people do not have to choose to watch your content. It happens to them. Right? It happens to them and then they react to it. On long form content on YouTube, it's different. They react to it and then it happens. So if you're getting views on your Shorts, but you're not getting views on your long form content, then one, either the viewer experience in terms of how they're interacting with that long form content once they do click on it, either that isn't at a competitive level yet. Doesn't mean you can't do it. It just means it's not, it's just not there yet. So you got to keep working on it. Or you're making great videos, but you just can't get people to click on it yet. So what that means is you have to start working on your packaging or what it is that people see from the outside. Because for all of us, when we make our videos, we know what's in our videos. We know the highlights of our videos. We know the value people are getting out of our videos. We know exactly, all the stuff that's going on in our videos. What we have to do though, as content creators, is we have to express or package up what is happening in that video as it relates to, or as it becomes important to the viewer. So because of that, what you have to make sure that you're thinking about is, if I am, going to be putting, this awesome content together, then I'm going to spend whatever time I need to spend. If it's, an hour, if it's 2 hours, if it takes me 5 hours to work through a really good thumbnail and a really good title that I think is going to get the people that I'm trying to reach to click on this, then do it. Because that's one of the skills that you have to develop if you are going to be making long form content for YouTube. Because your thumbnail, your videos will live and die by people clicking on your packaging. Because if they don't click on it, then it doesn't matter how good your videos are, they're never going to see them. But if they do click on it and your videos are awesome, then everything's going to go great for you. But you have to make sure that you're working on that skill. So if you're getting views in Shorts, in the short form content, but you're not getting it in the long form content, one, make sure that you're checking out, the actual viewer experience. You can see that in your audience retention reports to see exactly how people are responding when they are watching the content. And then also look at your click-through rate. Your click-through rate, when you're looking at that, don't just look at the averaged out view that you're going to see. Instead, go into advanced mode in your YouTube analytics. Once you're in advanced mode, go into traffic sources, and this is at the video level, not the channel level. Go into traffic sources, and then you're going to be able to see your click-through rate, the average view duration, and all that from the different pages that people can find your content on YouTube. Mr. Dutch Hack 10, thank you for the super chat, says, how do I put an image on a monitor or TV screen like you have in the background with Nimmin Live? So basically for this, that TV, I have an HDMI out of my computer. That HDMI is going out, going through like a little channel thing that I have on the floor, and then it's going up behind these cabinets, and then it's coming down and it's connecting to the back of this TV as an HDMI in, just like you would connect a PlayStation to it, right? It's the same thing. So that HDMI out, all I have to do is open up a VLC media player on my computer, select the file, and I just choose, because I just use that for one thing. So I just check the, I just go into the recent files for that, and then I select the recent file, and then it opens there. And then another thing you can do is if you have multiple monitors, this is a really cool thing for you live streamers or anybody, if you're making videos and you want to do this, is a really cool part of it. Inside VLC Media Player, and I didn't know this before, you can actually do it to where you can go into the settings or your preferences. And if you have multiple monitors, let's say this is monitor number 1, this is monitor number 2, and that's monitor number 3, then you can tell VLC Media Player that when I hit the full screen button, I want it to just jump to monitor 3. And when you do that, even if it's on the monitor 1, when you hit full screen, it's just gonna, bam, go over to the monitor 3 because you've assigned it to monitor 3 inside of your settings. So that's how you do that. Technically, so just a little quick side thing, and then we'll get back into the questions here really quick. So one thing that I did is I was thinking about, I was like, hey, I'm gonna put another camera over here because I really like this shot. I think I really like this shot a lot. So I was like, I'm gonna put another camera like over here, maybe even over here, but I can't do it over there because I have this stuff here unless I moved it. But I was like, I'm gonna put a camera either over there, maybe over here, maybe even right there if I get a wide enough lens for it. But and I was like, so because of that, I'm going to get another TV. I'm gonna put it right here in front of this desk. And I did. I got that TV right now. There's a TV there. So I decided, I'm like, once I got it in there, I was like, this is too much. I'm not gonna get like a whole other camera just to show like logos and stuff there. It's like, that's way overkill. I'm already on like overkill mode, so I'm not gonna do it. But one of the cool things that I also found out is that, and you might know this already, if you're a PC user, but one of the other things I found out is you can also group monitors. So what I was doing when I was experimenting with that setup is I had 2 monitors. I had it as a 3 and 4. So then if I just assigned VLC to like 3, for example, then it would automatically mirror onto the TV that was down there too. So it's really cool, setup. You can do all kinds of really fun stuff with it. So hopefully that helps. Next up on our list, we got most satisfying already. So next up on our list here, we've got Rip Z Drippy. That's a fun name to say. They do gaming content. The goal of the channel is to entertain and teach about games that I play. The question is, how do you get the click-through rate higher? How do you get them to subscribe? Get them to subscribe through making great content that they see value in, and also asking them to subscribe towards the end of your video somewhere. In terms of getting the click-through rate higher, it really comes down to making sure that you're understanding that topically, you need to make sure that the topics you're making videos about, that those are a good fit for the people you're trying to reach. In addition to that, you also need to make sure that you're focusing the imagery on the things that the people that you're trying to reach care about, and that helps them identify that your content's about that thing. And then you also have to make sure that when it comes to your title, that you are being informative as well as compelling in your title in terms of defining why the people that you are reaching should click on what it is that you're doing. So I need to step away for like 30 seconds, maybe, 30 seconds, maybe 45. So I'm going to play a video for you guys. For those of you that have seen this already, you already know what's coming. But for those of you that haven't, I made a diss track video with Brian G. Johnson, and it was just a fun thing we did. So Daniel Batal, who's in here, a lot, with Daniel Batal, he made a diss track on Brian G. Johnson, and for fun, we made one back just, for fun. So this is a diss track that we did towards Daniel Batal. But again, we're all friends, so it's just like a fun thing. But I'm going to show you that here while I'm taking my quick 30-second break.
Check, 1, 2. I'm B to the G, it's easy to see what you need, it's attention from me, I'll give you the shout, get back on the grind and you'll be down for the count, trying to breathe, your favorite is me, now you hit with the diss, all of that hair hanging there like a chick, man, give me a break. You're standing too close to the camera like Nick. Where is the claim that you say Filmora is hate? Call me a thief for the titles you hate. I taught you the rank, you seem to forget it. I hit it and quit it, and you try to walk in my wake. I'm tossing you weight, giving you shine, giving you clout by doing this with my time. And what I'm about, I am your guide. You come to my comfort, but now you're denied. You wanna throw shade. It's too late, I already got it made. You wanna bring hate. Hit the road, hater, cause I'm not phased.
If you're messing with G, you're messing with me. The name is Nimmin, I'll bend in a knee. Disturbing the peace, I'll come back into battle and murder a beat. I heard you eat worms like a bird, like a tree. Just like these words of defeat, I think Feeny should draw you and make you a T. They're waiting on me, who's waiting on you? If it wasn't for Johnson, you wouldn't have views or a clue. You wouldn't know what to do. The only extremes I see is your food. This is just weak, yes, I mean to be rude. Change of your scene, technique, everything about you in the future you seek. It's bleak, I don't mean to allude to the fact that you racked up a debt with the best in this feud. You just got wrecked by the crew. You wanna...
All right, so we are back. So let's hear. So that was fun, wasn't it? Nice little fun music video there. So our next question here is from, and we're at number 39. I'm sorry, 39 already. So we got Game Life 44. Game Life 44 says they have a gaming channel. The goal of the channel is to create entertaining and informative content. The question is, should I hire an editor for my gameplays? My editing skills aren't that great and time for editing is limited. It really comes down to, like, this is one of those things where, like, your approach is going to be really important here. The goals you have is going to be really important here. Your budget is going to be really important here. So, like, if you're like, hey, I'm taking YouTube seriously, I'm going to be doing everything that I possibly can to grow this. I have a monetization plan in place where I'm going to be able to, reinvest the revenue that I generate from this through all these different avenues or revenue streams back into my YouTube channel. I'm going to grow this as a business, those types of things. Then in that case, yeah, having somebody edit, your videos for you makes tons of sense. But if you're like, hey, I'm a game and I'm doing this for fun. If my channel grows, big, that's cool. If it doesn't, it's totally fine too, because I'm not like depending on this in any way, shape or form. So I'm just kind of on here having a good time. Then in that case, I would just continue editing your videos, when you have time. And then as you start generating income from your YouTube channel, build that up and then start reinvesting that, as you get it, some of it into having somebody edit like every other video. And then, then start to figure out your workflow with working with them and all of that. And then, as your budget gets bigger, then in that case, then start having, somebody help you do them all if you decide to still, continue doing that. But the idea is to really make sure that, hiring a video editor, because you're going to be, spending money every single month or every single video that you publish. So you just have to make sure that your vision for what it is that you're doing and the goals that you have and the plan that you have for what it is you're trying to do here on YouTube, that video editing fits into it. Because, in some cases it doesn't, And in some cases, it's better to just keep, editing your own stuff, just for, efficiency and just for performance and, all that stuff. So next up, we got China NZ. Says that they have a channel about China. The goal of the channel is they hope to show food, travel, and life in China. The question is it worth commenting on other smaller channels in your niche to try to get more exposure? No, it is not. Is there a nice way to let people know that you want to start making videos on the same niche? And a lot of the big channels have left China, and most of the new channels are pretty small. This is a great opportunity to start collaborating with the small channels if you're in the same areas. In addition to that, when it comes to collaborating, just getting to know them and letting people know that you want to start making content in that niche, I wouldn't even worry about that. I wouldn't think of it from the perspective of, I got to let other people know that I want to make content in this niche, because you just do your thing and then they'll take notice later. But when it comes to commenting on smaller channels to try to get more exposure, or similar channels, smaller, bigger, whatever, just similar channels, no, you do not want to do that. That's a humongous waste of time. If you hang out in live streams and you are, doing that for the sake of having people, hopefully follow you, then in that case, that's a total waste of your time. If you're commenting on videos for the sake of hoping somebody will come and subscribe to your YouTube channel, total waste of your time. Instead, spend your time learning about click-through rate, learning about how to focus somebody's attention in an image so you can make more effective thumbnails, watch videos on copywriting, on presenting, so that you can better, either through your voice or, on camera, you can present your content in the best way that you know, or the best way that you can, for every moment in time. Spend that time working on your skills. That's what I'm getting at, instead of interacting for the sake of trying to get exposure. Now, with that said, if you're like, hey, I'm watching these other channels in a similar niche and I'm just watching them because I love the content and I'm here anyway, and I'm just commenting for the sake of commenting, but I happen to make a similar type of content, no problem. Because in that case, you know, you're doing it because you're just a part of the community and you're just hanging out, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if you're like, hey, I'm gonna be, you know, I gotta make sure that when they publish a video that I go in there, I'm one of the first comments, and, you know, hopefully I'll be able to pull some viewers over and, you know, things like that, total waste of your time. You might get subscribers here and there. You know, you might get a 5 subscriber bump here, a 2 subscriber bump here. If you do it on a really popular video, you might get 100 subscribers, you know, overnight. But long term, that's such wasted time compared to other things that you could be doing that will actually move the needle for you and keep the needle moving, right? Because, you know, like, what you don't want to do is you don't want to waste your time doing these things that are just low result. You know, that will get you like the most minimal result possible, but it'll still move you forward. You don't want to do that kind of stuff. You want to do the things that will make a difference. And the things that will make a difference in terms of, I can spend my time commenting on a bunch of other videos, or I can spend my time learning how to do the thing that I'm doing better so that I can make a bigger impact organically, you know, without having to, you know, use those types of methods. Let's see here. So Top Cat Talent Show says, nice song. Maybe you can enter this video to my mobile at talent show. Nice. Thank you. I'm glad that you enjoyed that. Yeah, so we've had that for a long time in terms of the that particular song. But hey, if I just have to submit it somewhere, shoot me a message, like a DM on Twitter or something, and I will I'll see what's up with that. And thank you. First Class Gamer says, my buddy, super chat. Thank you for the super chat. Says, my buddy who has 244 subs told me his golden advice to get views. I'm going to share it with you all, which is make every video like it's a first impression. Agree or disagree? Absolutely agree. So yeah, to make it like it's in a first impression, and that's with anything, you know, like first impressions are a big deal. So, you know, when somebody first comes into a product, they're, you know, like what they see on a sales page or what they see when they start interacting with that product right out of the gate, it's going to create that impression of this thing sucks or it doesn't. This thing is something I can depend on or it's not. Same exact thing goes when, you know, it comes to the YouTube content. Like, hey, this video knocked me off of my socks. I'm sold. I'm going to watch everything they publish, right? That returning viewer right out of the gate compared to like, you know, whatever. Then, you know, then in that case, you know, you're not going to, you know, glue people to what it is that you're doing. So yeah, I totally agree with that idea. 1X Family Entertainment, thank you for the super chat there as well. So here, China NZ, thanks for the response. My pleasure. So here, next up, we got Mixzilla45. Mixzilla45, they upload 1 time per week or more on a computer. They do gaming content. The goal is to reach 500 subscribers for the community tab. And the question is, if I have 500 subscribers, and I unlock my community tab, what's the first thing do I have to do with this community tab? So the way that you want to look at your community tab is you want to look at it like it is a tool to interact with the people that are enjoying your content, and in some cases pull in new viewers as well. It's mostly people that are interacting, but you will also get in front of new viewers with your community tab as well. So what you want to think about is, if you want just the engagement, then just start, you know, initially start using it for, you know, like, hey, you know, do you like videos, you know, more about, what do you do? Gaming. Okay. So like, do you like videos more about, you know, do you want me to make more videos about Fortnite, or do you want to see some like GTA content from me? And then just let your community give you some feedback. You can also use it to post images. You know, if you have something that you're working on that's like pretty epic, you can share some of those images there, just kind of build some hype around it. And, you know, just like, you can also do fun things, like depending on your type of content, to where you can post like, you know, like, hey, here's 2 different options in this photo. Which one do you think looks better? Or which one do you think you'd click on, or whatever the thing is. Like, you can use it as a way to just get feedback.
If you're enjoying the show, remember to give it a thumbs up and share it with a friend right now.
In addition to that, so I mentioned the polls. You can also use it to share video content. Woo. I swallowed and it kind of went down the wrong hole there. Woo. Kind of play that one again.
If you're enjoying the show, remember to give it a thumbs up and share it with a friend right now.
All right, the fun of live streaming compared to video content, right? Like live streaming, you just got to keep going through that stuff. With video content, it's like, all right, pause it, get myself together, hit record, go again, right? But what are we talking about here? Oh yeah, the community tab. So when it comes to the community tab, Basically, you use images, things like that, as just a way to show people what you're working on, just get general feedback, that sort of thing. Show them behind the scenes stuff, like, normal, like, hey, this is my pet or whatever. It's funny, like I posted a picture of popcorn, and that's one of my most engaged community posts, which is hilarious. Because it's completely unrelated to YouTube. It's just like, hey, here's my cute dog. And, like everybody loved that post. But you can share other video content in there as well. So if you have content that you know is good and you know is a great fit for the community, but maybe you made that before, you had a lot of people interacting with the channel, you can share some of that content there as well and use it as a way to just kind of re-engage people and pull them back into the channel. Let's see here. So next up on our list. So I guess you've heard, and this is from Forsaken. So I guess you heard of Thread Brad before. I haven't actually. I want to be like that or even better one day. My click-through rate is 15% plus every time I seen growth, I'm not sure what was coming after that. But in terms of a 15% click-through rate, that is good. But you also want to make sure that you're factoring in the amount of impressions that you're getting. So again, that's good, but you want to make sure that you are factoring in the amount of impressions. So like 15% on like 100 impressions, it's good, but it's not like as big of a deal as 15% on, 500,000 impressions or 100,000 impressions as an example. So when it comes to, for the future, for everybody, like that's hanging out here, when you're sharing that type of information, even when you're putting the question in the forum for people that are here on a regular basis, it would be helpful in terms of just getting a more clear perspective from my end for the information that I share when you ask the question to know the, just the ballpark impressions, right? And same thing goes when you're talking about like view percentage, let me know how long the videos are, things like that, because that additional information can just kind of help me to more accurately answer or help you solve the problem. But in terms of that person, I haven't heard of them before, but you can, definitely be better or, be as good, one of the two. And in terms of your click-through rate, again, that's good, but it's going to be dependent on the, amount of impressions that you are that you're getting. Yeah, but Doug said popcorn got in the newspaper too. He did. Yeah, I put popcorn in the newspaper thing for my news thing also. Good catch.
Welcome to the Nimminati.
1X Family Entertainment, welcome to the Nimminati, welcome to channel membership. So what you want to do, just as a heads up, is you want to go to nimminvip.com. That's going to redirect you to our members only Facebook group. Make sure you fill out all the information on the way in, because that's how I verify that you are a channel member. So if you can do that before the stream is over today, I can let you in as soon as the stream is complete. All right. So as we keep on going here, we've got next question, number 42. We've got Good Talk HQ. They upload every other day, been on YouTube for 1 year or more. They do gaming content. The goal of the channel is to build a strong community through integrity. And the question is, if you upload a new video, does it kill the previous video in the algo, or will YouTube stop pushing it out in favor of the new one? So no. Okay. So let's say that I was subscribed to your YouTube channel. And let's say that Doug Hewson, who's here in the chat as well, let's say me and Doug are both subscribed to your YouTube channel. Let's say that you published a video today and you published a video yesterday. Based on how Doug and I use YouTube, because even though there's probably a lot of crossover between me and Doug, there's probably also a lot of outlying things that are that make our user experience with YouTube completely different. So for example, I'm watching a lot of like hand pan stuff right now, and I'm going to assume, I could be wrong, but I'm going to assume that Doug's probably, not watching a bunch of like, hand pan videos. So because of that, when you publish those videos, YouTube's system is basically just going to go through a simple process of, based on how Nick is interacting with YouTube, which one of these two videos would be the best fit for Nick right now? And then they're going to show me that one. Based on how I respond to that one, they might end up showing me the other one. If I respond or I don't respond, they might still show me that other one, on like my next page load. But basically they're going to, show me one of those videos based on, that if I'm highly engaged in your channel. Now with Doug might get the other video, or he might get the same video I do based on just how YouTube is predicting that, that each of us would interact with each piece of content that you publish. So without question, when you publish a new video, it has that initial 7-day, promo period, but you can step on your own content because YouTube does have to prioritize one over the other. And in some cases, somebody might log into YouTube once a day to watch 30 minutes of content and then they're out. So because of that, some content can get stepped on, but that doesn't mean long term that the videos aren't going to do well. So basically the idea, you want as much traffic hitting your videos as fast as you can possibly get it so that YouTube can get as much data for the system to the most accurately predict who the right people are to interact with your content. However, sometimes they'll just start out slow. And, especially when you're uploading a lot of videos and things like that, some videos will pop, other videos won't. So you have to make sure that you are just considering that if I'm uploading a lot, the system is going to have to just prioritize what content it's going to be showing from my channel to the viewers that are interacting with my channel and to new viewers as well. With new viewers, it's easier because you just have a whole library of content that they can show to them. Some of that will be your new content, but some of it will also be your old content. But the idea is that when you do publish content, that is stepping on other content, then the only thing that happens there is YouTube has to, prioritize one to show, that particular user. Let's see here. So next up on the list, Nick, clear the throat. You got this because you truly rock. Thank you, Gloria. I appreciate the kind words there. Roberto Blake in the house, my man. What is up, man? I mentioned your awesomecreatoracademy.com earlier. Hopefully that person went over there and hit you up. So Roberto Blake says he uploaded daily for 2.5 years and had no algorithm-based downside. Last year, whenever I uploaded back-to-back, there was no downside. It all depends on who it is designed to reach. I think in this case, Roberto, you're probably taking a little, I could be wrong, but I'm guessing just with your experience and everything, like you're probably taking a little bit more of a strategic approach in terms of like, I've got these pillars of content that serve these particular, types of viewers. So I'm going to make sure I publish this one on this day for this type, this one on this day for this type, and so on is going to be my assumption on that. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that would be my assumption just based on, your experience and your approach to things. But somebody that's just getting started, they might publish like, hey, here's a GTA video on how to do this one thing, and here's another GTA video on how to do a thing that's going to be similar to this other thing, to where they're going to be stepping on each other. You know what I mean? But let's see here. So even though it's an outlier, look at Ryan Trihan, his 30-day series, no downside. Yes, it's all strategic. It doesn't work if it's random. So let's see here. So next up on our list here, we've got Zakira Fiera. Zakira Fiera says that they do gaming content. The goal of the channel is to helping others with games, having a great community, entertaining, and eventually monetize. And the question is, one of my long-term subscribers recently lost her home in a house fire. Oh my God, I'm sorry to hear that. During my last stream, I asked if there was a GoFundMe for helping them get back on their feet. Would a community page post be a good way to do this? Yeah, you could do a community post in order to try to help that person bring attention to that, without question. Yeah, you could do that. And that's kind of you as well. So the next channel here is from Colbert Gaming, and they do gaming tutorials and Let's Role Plays. And the question is, or the goal is to help viewers escape the daily grind and create an income stream while developing marketable skills. And the question is, I've been creating my first Let's Roleplay series and have posted 9 episodes so far. In episode 6, I changed my narration to be completely in character, speaking as if I'm the character rather than a mix of myself and the character. I've been using end screens and pinned comments in my tutorials to send people to episode 1 since it's an ongoing storyline. Should I link to episode 6 instead, since the new narration style is more likely to engage viewers? If you get proof that it engages them versus, just being more likely, like experiment with it and see. But as soon as you start getting proof one way or the other, then, let that reinforce your decision, but always be open to experiment. So like, if you're like, hey, I think that based on, my interest in this, subject and based on, my understanding of the people I'm trying to reach, I think they would like this more. By all means, point everything towards it and just see how people respond to it, and just take note of how things are so that you can quickly change back if it starts going south. But one thing to also think about is when it comes to putting series together, you also, of course you want to chain content together, but you also want to make sure that each video is accessible in its own right. And what I mean by that, and YouTube recommends this also, what you want to do is when you're putting together a series, you want to make sure that you are chaining content together, that you are, recommending people go to that next video, that you're informing them that it's part of a series or a playlist, and that you have a link to the entire playlist, in the description or at the end of the video or whatever. But for new viewers, as they're coming in, you don't want someone to come into a piece of content to where they have to watch another piece of content in order to come up to speed with what's going on, because it's not Netflix, right? So because of that, what you want to do is you want to make sure that even though you're doing it as a series, you want to make sure that each video could also stand on its own. If a new viewer comes in and that's their first interaction with you, with your YouTube channel, with your content, you want to make sure that they have a good experience with that without the need to watch the other stuff. They can get a tons more information. They might even end up watching that, the most current video again once they get all that additional information. But the idea is to make sure that when you're putting your content together, when you're thinking of how you're going to link everything together and how you're going to build out the series, you do want to make sure that each video within the series, it also stands alone in its own right, so that way you don't end up annihilating your audience retention for new viewers when they come in, because as they're coming into the video, if they need that additional context to understand what's going on here, they're lost, they're gone. So because of that, you want to make sure that each video can stand on its own so that you're not sacrificing the performance of all of the videos for the sake of just having that, that themed series. Let's see here. So next up on the list here, we've got, we're on number 45. This is from Jolene Does Stuffs. And the type of channel says, it's a channel where I get ideas for my viewers. And the goal of the channel says I'm uploading to entertain people and make them laugh. And the question, to get more views, would it have to be longer titles or interesting thumbnails? So you have to do all the things. It's not YouTube isn't like, hey, you just have to focus on this one thing. Like, you have to do all the things. You have to make interesting thumbnails that people, can help people identify what you're doing. You have to make good titles that compel people to click and also inform people and so on. You have to make great video content that keeps people watching, keeps them engaged, that, shows them that like, hey, this is good. I'm entertained by this, or I'm getting, a lot of value out of this, and whatever that value, however that value is expressed, I'm getting a lot of value out of this. I want to subscribe and come back and watch more of this stuff. But you got to do all the things. Make good content, make good thumbnails, make good titles. In terms of the topics, you got to make sure you're putting out content on good topics that will reach people, things like that people will be interested in, content they actually want to watch. You got to make sure you're doing all of the things, because if you're like, hey, is it better to have longer titles or interesting thumbnails? Yes, is the answer. Like, you got to do all of it, right? So have good titles. Experiment with links and how you're structuring them and things like that, but you got to have good titles, you got to have good thumbnails, you got to have good topics, you got to make sure you're publishing content on a regular basis. You have to make sure you're trying to get people to click on your end screens. You got to make sure you're getting people to engage in other ways in terms of subscribing, liking, commenting, all those things. Like, you got to do all the stuff. Let's see here, next 46. So we've got Mimi Leonard. Mimi Leonard says they have a beauty channel. The goal of the channel is to help people understand a beauty product before purchase. And the question is, does uploading weekly delay channel growth? No, it does not. If the content that you're uploading is effective in terms of people are responding to it in a positive way, then in that case, you can upload daily. You can upload once a week. If it's really engaging and people are really into it, then you can upload once a month if you want to. But, for most types of content, I would say you probably want to upload once a week, maybe once every other week in some cases. But if you're doing like really high level stuff, then in that case, like once a month can be okay. But in most cases, you'll want to upload it like once a week if you can. Let's see here. Mimi Leonard. Oh yeah, we did that one already. So next up, we did Ripsy already, I think. Let me see the question here. Okay, yeah, they said to again, so we already answered them. Just trying to get a new person's question here. Her Hero Review says that they do movie and TV show reviews and recaps. The goal of the channel is 500 subs to grow. Question: what do I add in the description to make sure my video ranks in SEO? So SEO doesn't come from your description. SEO comes from your content and how people respond to your content. How many people here, just as a quick, temperature check, how many people here make videos targeted for YouTube search? If that's you, just say me, because I've got some tips for you here. The idea, as I'm waiting for that feedback to come in, is when you are trying to get videos to show up in YouTube search, it's important to understand that your content performance in YouTube search is going to be dependent on how your content performs compared to how the other content for those search results performs. So what you do is you give context to YouTube just so that at the time of publish, YouTube's smart enough to figure it out eventually, but so at the time of publish, they have all the system has all the context that it needs to know what your video is about and all that. Keep in mind, like their system's reading your videos, or they're reading the captions, but they're watching your videos, generating captions, all that. So they'll figure out what your video is about, but the more clear you can make it, the better off you're gonna be. So because of that, excuse me, what you wanna do is you want to make sure that you have a keyword or keyword phrase that you're targeting in your title itself. Now, yes, videos can show up in YouTube search without even having a keyword in there. It can say something like, like this is the worst, streaming tool ever made. But if YouTube detects that, hey, for whatever reason, when we tested this in search, people clicked on it at a high rate for this particular term, then your video is going to stay there, or at least it'll show up there, go down for a little bit, and then end up rising back through the ranks and end up there again. However, if they don't respond, then it won't be there. But the idea is you want to give the context. So the idea with keywords or keyword phrases when it comes to trying to show up in search is, one, the clarity to the system in terms of like, hey, this is what it's about. So you want to make sure you have the keyword phrase as part of your title, add it to your description as well, and just go ahead while the box is there, go ahead and put it in your tags too. As soon as that doesn't matter anymore, they'll take it away. But those things in terms of like your like, let's rank them. So title, most important. Your description, we'll just say that is second. Your video, of course, holds all the weight. Your video and your thumbnail, in terms of people clicking on it, those are the things that hold all the weight. But in terms of importance of the things that you need to make sure, metadata-wise, that you need to make sure you're working on, title, the most important. And then description, and then the tags they're just kind of there, but just go ahead and use them anyway until they take them away. So what you want to think about is you want to think about, okay, if I'm trying to rank for this term on how to mash potatoes, then in that case, you want to add some type of compelling element to it as well. So you could put how to mash potatoes, but then you'd want to make it enticing in some way or compelling in some way. So then in that case, how to mash potatoes in under 2 minutes or under a minute. I don't know how long it takes to mash potatoes. How to mash potatoes in under a minute or under 2 minutes or in 30 seconds or with your hands or whatever the thing is. So you have the keyword or keyword phrase in there, which is how to mash potatoes, so that you're matching exactly what people are looking for. And then from there, of course, you want to make sure that the content itself delivers the best that it possibly can for that term. So before you even make the content, before you decide, I'm going after this search term, what you want to do is you want to Google that search term, and you want to make sure that you look on YouTube search for that search term as well. Confirm in Google. I mean, this is if you want to also leverage Google. Then you want to confirm in Google that they have video results for that term. And then in that case, if you end up ranking in Google for it, you can also use that as an additional traffic source. But then you also want to look in YouTube search, and you want to see the videos there. Since you're uploading it to YouTube, I'm going to assume that that's the priority. Even though you might, still be targeting Google, I'm just going to assume in most cases that you're probably going to be targeting YouTube search. So what you want to do is you want to look at the top videos for that search result. You want to open them and you want to watch those videos. You want to see how they're titled. You want to see how they start the videos. You want to see the comments that are in those particular videos, because those comments are going to tell you things that those creators left out of the video that you can address right away when your videos start, things like that. So you want to do this research beforehand so that when you make your video, it's the best fit for people that are looking for that particular thing, and you make it in a way where it can compete for the search term because you've done the work and you've watched the other videos that are in, that are there for that search term. It's going to take a little bit more time, but this research is going to make the difference on if you start getting more search traffic or not. So do it. But then the next thing that you want to do is when you actually publish the video itself, when you're looking at your click-through rate, if you're targeting search, right? When you're looking at your click-through rate, instead of looking at the averaged out view, you want to go into your traffic sources and you want to look in YouTube search. Instead of looking at your audience retention, of course, you want to look at your audience retention so you can see the graph on how people responded. But in terms of how long people are watching for and the percentage viewed, you can also see that in your traffic sources. So you want to go and you want to just gauge how you're competing in YouTube search. So if you find, hey, people are watching this for, a decent amount of time, so I'm winning there, I'm doing okay there, I'm competing there, I think. Then in that case, if you look at your click-through rate and you find that your click-through rate is low compared to the impressions that you're getting for that, then in that particular case, that's a red flag. And you can say, okay, since I'm targeting search, I'm looking at YouTube search for the important metrics here. And if I find that I'm underperforming in YouTube search, then I'm going to go and update my thumbnail, maybe even update my title in order to try to perform better in YouTube search at the click level, right? So you want to make sure you're looking at those things. But the idea is that when it comes to YouTube, what they're looking for is they're trying to generate as much watch time per impression for each search query. So what that means is, and of course, the satisfaction, but that, is also reflected in watch time. So what you want to make sure that you're thinking about is if YouTube is trying to generate as much watch time per impression for each search query, then what that means is that research that I'm doing on the front end, I got to make videos that at least compete with, but I'm going to try to do better than the videos that are already for those results. So you don't want to just kind of like think of it after you make the video and be like, oh, okay, well, I'm just going to, try to optimize around these, words. You don't want to do that. You want to do all this front end research first so that you can better qualify yourself for the terms that you're going to be competing for. Because look, when we're making videos, sometimes we're going to go after search terms and there's going to be people there that their videos are just awesome and you're going to know it. You're going to be like, you know what? Maybe I'm going to make a video about something else because like the way that they made this video and how they put it all together, like they nailed this. I could compete here, but there's a really good chance that if I spend just a little bit more time, researching the terms that I want to go after, really good chance that I can just find a better term to go after that, that I know that I can dominate that term for. So that's kind of the approach that you want to take. So that was kind of long-winded. We kind of went, kind of squirrely and all over the place there, but hopefully that answered your question. So next up, so just as a quick, wrap up for that one, if you're not showing up in search, you're not getting search traffic, but you're targeting it, that means you need to do what I was just talking about on the research. And that also means that you need to make sure that you're paying attention to how your videos are performing in search specifically. To find that, because I didn't mention that in that little thing that I just went through, to find that, you need to go into your content. So go into your back end of your Creator Studio. Click into your content, click into whatever videos it is that you're trying to, pull or trying to have show up in search, and then go into the analytics for that video, and then click on advanced analytics in the top. Right-hand side of the screen is going to be blue text. And then once you're in there, then you're going to go to the navigation tab that's kind of like in the middle of the screen. And then you're going to look for something that says traffic sources. You want to click on traffic sources. And then when you click on that, then you're going to see a listing of the places on YouTube that viewers are finding that video from. And then that's where you see that information. I think I've got I've got a video on this. I actually have a YouTube short. I've got 2 shorts on my channel, I think, maybe 3. And one of those is about those traffic sources and how to find it. So if none of that made sense in terms of me just kind of vocally walking through it, which by the way, those of you taking notes with TubeSpanner, for those of you doing that, that would have been a great moment to just kind of write down step by step what I was talking about. Feel free to just kind of back it up a little bit and do that, because as you're taking those notes, or you could just put the note like, hey, this is how I find traffic sources, because TubeSpanner, when you're taking those notes, they actually lock in the timestamp for that moment in time as well. So then later you can be like, okay, traffic sources, it was this one right here. So I'm gonna just go open that note and I'm just gonna click on it. And then you'll be able to jump right to this part. So next up on our list here, we've got positive momentum vibrations. Nice, nice, nice. They have positive affirmations, and let's see here, positive affirmations and meditation content. The goal of the channel is to help others with their mindset through positivity, encouragement, meditation. The question is, I'm a new meditation channel. I say positive affirmations over calming music and videos. How do I grow and extend my reach to viewers when the typical tactics and strategies, such as asking to subscribe mid-video or an attention-grabbing intro, aren't appropriate with my niche? So technically, the attention-grabbing intro doesn't have to be attention-grabbing. You say positive affirmations. So since you say positive affirmations when your video first starts in your chill voice, I'm just going to assume that you're using here, and I apologize if I'm wrong in that assumption, but just because I watch this type of content, not the positive affirmations per se, but I listen to calming music all the time, and then I'll listen to like guided meditations and stuff like that. So that's why I'm assuming that it's a calming voice. But anyway, when the video first starts, greet them with a positive message, right? Yeah, so, hope you're having a wonderful day. Hope you're having a wonderful day. I'm going to be sharing with you some positive affirmations that will, by the time you're finished with this video, you will be in a more calm state. So now let's get into the positive affirmations. And then you start saying your affirmations. So it's not that it has to make it like, oh my gosh, this is something I have to watch. If somebody's looking for, or they are clicking on videos about positive affirmations, you don't have to hook them in the way, like I have to do something crazy or extreme here, just be informative. Let them know, like, hey, this is what we're going to be doing in this video. And then by doing that, you're just confirming that you're confirming that the thing that they're expecting to get from that is exactly what it is that they're going to get. They're going to get a sample of your voice, the thing that you're going to be using to, give them the positive affirmations. So basically, you're giving them a taste of what it is that you're doing, but you're leading them into it. So because of that, I really recommend that you also do that. So one thing, of course, all the rules don't apply to, every channel, but most of it does. Most of the stuff that I talk about, I save advanced things for when people ask more advanced questions. And then also, like if somebody asks me something in the members group, or, when I go to conferences and we're having those conversations, like Vid Summit, for example, I'll be speaking there. I encourage everybody to go, check out Vid Summit. It's in LA, September 27th through the 29th. It's going to be awesome. I encourage you to go. But the idea is with, lost my train of thought there. Positive affirmations that we're calling music and videos. Oh yeah, the basic rules. Yeah, so the idea is that, the things that I share mostly are like best practice things that work for most channels. And then of course, you can get into the advanced stuff that would be, more channel specific. But, like the hook thing, the problem here is that it's just a misunderstanding of what that means. So the hook isn't like, hey, you gotta knock somebody off their socks when they start the video. It just means that in some cases with your type of content, your hook is actually a stack or a set of information that you share with them so that they can have a better context as to what it is exactly that they're going to be getting in the video, right? So it's just kind of a way to try to get them to commit. Let's see here. And also the same things are going to apply. Your watch time is going to matter. How people are clicking on your videos is going to matter. The way that people engage is going to matter. So even though, being like, oh, hey, hey, by the way, make sure you subscribe, all that. If you don't want to say that in your videos, you still can at the end of your videos. You can still say that. Like you can say at the end of your video, for example, like, hey, if you enjoy these positive affirmations, I encourage you to subscribe. So, so you can get more of these on a regular basis, that sort of thing. Just a really quick blurb. You don't have to cram it down their throat. It's just an awareness thing. Another thing you can do is you can use graphics for it, to where you just have a little graphic. Since you're making that type of content, it's a little thing slowly kind of fades out or fades in, starts in the middle, just kind of comes into place, and it's just like a nice looking text that fits the the vibe of what it is that you're doing, and it just says enjoying these affirmations, remember to subscribe. Leave it on screen for like 5 to 10 seconds, have it fade back out. Just little things like that you can do to still follow the same concepts, but apply them to what it is that you're doing. Jason Lewis, what's up, man? Nice to see you in here today. Good morning, man. I hope you're doing awesome. So next up on our list here, we got Welcome to My World. They do daily content, gaming channel. The goal of the channel is to give fellow YouTubers something to do and watch. And the question is, what is a good ratio of views, watch time to subscriber count? It's different for every channel. I wish I could say like this, and this. It's different for every channel. So like, for example, Jason Lewis at Painfully Honest Tech, his view to subscribe ratio might be, 10 times everybody here in the chat. Or it might be 5 times everybody here in the chat, or it could be, the same as everybody that's hanging out here today. So, it's wildly different from channel to channel. Let's see here. Next up. AfroSac GP Creates says they do gaming content tutorials. Goal of the channel is to help people with the in-game live editor. Question is, when should I start doing collabs with small channels? Is there a certain amount of subs or videos I should have? No. All you have to do is have the courage to start reaching out to people and asking for collaborations. That's it. So especially, new content creators, a lot of people are hungry for that kind of stuff. I know when I was getting started, like I was participating in all kinds of crazy stuff. Like I had another YouTube channel called All Our Questions. And that was like when I was like first like, hey, I'm going to start doing this seriously. Cause I had it to where I was like, hey, I'm trying it with this channel that you're watching right now. Where I was like, hey, I'm trying it. I'm talking about, these other things. And then the All Our channel's like, okay, I'm going to start trying to do this seriously. And with that particular channel, I was trying to collaborate with I had the gamers, like I collaborated with a gamer on there. I would hop into like Skype calls and stuff. People are like, hey, I would see it on Reddit. People are like, hey, we're putting together, like a collaboration video. It's like this big collaboration video project we want to do. Does anybody want to participate? I'm like, yep, I do. And then, I'd hop in these calls, and maybe I'd make like a little clip that they'd use in their video or something like that. Like I was all over it. Just because, I understood at that moment in time, how powerful collaborations can be. And also, at that moment in time, because that was before my brother, was making YouTube videos and stuff, before he was doing this whole thing. So at that moment in time, because, you know, I'm over here in Asia. And at that moment in time, like I was just solo. Like I was, you know, I was the only YouTuber, you know, that I had like, you know, face-to-face contact with and all of that. So like I was really, you know, hungry just for that, you know, interaction with other content creators as well. So so because of that, I was, you know, just trying to network with everybody that I could. I still do that to some extent. I've just dialed it back just a little bit. Let's see here. So next up on our list here, we've got Mugu Gamer. Mugu Gamer does daily content. They do gaming content. I think I just said that already. And the goal of the channel says, I love making, or I love gaming, and I wanted to make money by doing what I like. And the question is, I started posting a certain game last month. Should I stick with this game as my main game if it has low search volume, or should I go better? Should I go for a better one in terms of a score? Also, I started to get bored from that game. If you're getting bored from the game, then yeah, don't, like if you're getting bored with the game, then prioritize yourself, right? So like if you're getting bored with the game, it's important to make sure that you are, you know, playing games or, you know, whatever type of content you're making, that you're doing the thing that you enjoy doing. Because if not, then doing this will become not fun. It'll become, you know, like an inconvenience. So so focus on the thing that you're going to enjoy. Let's see here. Roberto says, never worry about view to subscribe ratio. Doesn't mean anything outside of cloud. Yep. Let's see here. Next up, the Christian Hardscaper says that the goal of the channel is to share my work with others and teach them about landscape construction. Man, I could use you over here. Says, hey, Nick, love your streams and your real conversation / advice. Your information and advice has led me to almost 6,000 subscribers in 7 months. High five and fist bump to you. You're doing fantastic. Anyway, I've been getting emails for brand deals and inquiries on licensing my content, but I'm not comfortable with getting into any deals yet because I don't know if they're all legit. What are some scams, things to be careful for when getting into brand deals and licensing? Thanks again. Okay, so first off, when it comes to brand deals, make sure that you're getting emails from official email addresses. So I just had this thing pop up. So I had somebody reach out on behalf of Fiverr, and they reached out to me like, hey, you know, we want to make some videos with you, whatever. And I told them, because I looked at the email address that it came from, that's like step number one for me, is I look at the email address and I'm like, okay, so this person's reaching out saying that they're from Fiverr, but this email doesn't match. It was like, you know, it was like 5 and then like some like letters and some numbers and stuff. It was weird. So I was like, nope. And I just closed the email and I didn't do it. They hit me up later. They hit me up again, maybe like a week or 2 later. They're like, hey, just wanted to, you know, reach out again and just confirm you got my email before, so on and so forth. So I was like, okay, look, I did get your email. This is what I said. I was like, I did get your email. However, it did not come from an official, you know, like Fiverr account. So because of that, this is just a precautionary thing because I've been burned in the past. So it's no offense to you, but because of that, I need some type of email from an official Fiverr email address. If you can give that to me, then we'll, you know, we'll start talking about it. And then what happened is I ended up getting a email from an official Fiverr account, or from an official, you know, Fiverr email. So it was a Fiverr person. They reached out to me, let me know that that person was legit and so on. So what you want to do is the very first thing is you want to make sure that you know, confirm that it is coming from a company address. And if it's not, you don't have to dismiss it, but you know, you might want to start that dialogue. Like one thing that's happening right now is you'll see tons of emails come in, especially if there's any established channels in here, you're dealing with this already probably too. But there's tons of emails going out right now. Like I get them every day that are from .cz websites. And all of these are like, hey, you know, I'm representing, you know, like Manfrotto, for example, and, you know, through our agency, we're doing this, that, and the other thing, blah, blah. And like, they'll be poorly worded. Like everything about it is just like all weird. And it's clear that it's not legitimately coming from, you know, any of the people that they're saying they're coming from. But it's just like a huge problem right now. And just like general spam outreach like that, to where they're just trying to, you know, like get access to YouTube channels, huge problem right now. So because of that, the very first step is to make sure that you are checking that email, and don't be afraid to send an email and say, hey, I need something, you know, from the actual, you know, company before I can even, you know, start this conversation. And then the next thing you can do is you can also hop on LinkedIn. So most of the companies that you're going to be, working with, they're going to have, their employees on LinkedIn. So because of that, you also want to hop on there and just do a quick name for the search, a quick name for the company, and just look and just make sure that you can kind of match things up there to confirm that the outreach is legitimate. And then another thing that you can do, and this might feel a little bit shady. So because of that, I would say this is a last resort. But if you're like, man, I'm pretty sure, but I'm not certain, go to their official Twitter account and shoot them a DM there, or even at them and say hey, I need to send you a DM. I have somebody that's saying they're from your company, and I just need to verify that they're from your company, and try to get that dialogue going with them. But the idea is to essentially just try to get some type of official verification. Jason's saying I get them all the time, never respond to .cz. I also don't respond to something without product links or even a signature with contact info. Yeah, and another thing too, for those of you that are going to be doing brand outreach, it goes the other way also. So if you're doing brand outreach and you're reaching out to companies and you're trying to get them to work with you in some capacity, you also want to make sure that you are, if you're doing outreach, that you are, handling yourself in a professional way there. And what I mean by that is get an email address, get just a basic hosting plan for it, or just an email plan for it, or not an email address, I'm sorry, get a web URL, get a basic email plan for it, and make sure that you have your name from that, or outreach from that, or partners at whatever your URL is, and do all of your outreach from that. Because what happens is when you take those little tiny steps and you have a website URL, you have let's say you have a one-page website there, which you can actually get some of that in TubeSpanner, by the way. But let's say you have a one-page website as part of it, you have your official email, things like that. Right out of the gate, it separates you in terms of hey, this person's, they're doing this professionally, compared to people that are reaching out in other capacities. So, again, if they're reaching out to you, it's a little bit different because they're reaching out to you through whatever email address that they find that connects them to you. But when you're doing that outreach, you want to make sure that you are, putting some of those things in place so that you're presenting yourself professionally, because, professionals are usually dealing with other professionals all day. So when you are, doing this outreach, you want to make sure that they are seeing you in the best light possible, so that they can also think hey, this person, they got their stuff together. They're probably going to be easy to work with because, they won't think that they also went through this process, but it'll be in alignment with the experiences that they normally have with other professionals. So that's the idea. All right. So on that note, I want to thank everybody for hanging out here today. I do want to remind you that this show is sponsored by TubeBuddy and Streamyard. So I got links to them down in the description, as well as a bunch of other helpful things for you as a YouTube content creator. And I know, I talk about, the things in the description, but if you haven't went down and looked, there's a lot of good stuff down there. So I do recommend that you just take 15 seconds and go down there and just read through the stuff in the description and just check out the things that are available down there, because I only share things that are helpful to us as content creators. So, so make sure you check that out. But another thing I want to mention as well is if you're new to YouTube, and before you go, make sure you listen to this if you're new. If you're new to YouTube, we talk about tons of stuff during this live stream. If you're new, some of it might have made, a lot of sense. Some of it might have been I'm not really sure what he's talking about there. I really encourage you to take notes on, what it is that we talk about here, or any ideas that you have like that, that we've shared in the stream today. Take notes on them and just hop on Google, start trying to figure them out, so that next week when we meet up, you're more informed, but more importantly, so that you just start getting more informed on the platform that you're operating on, that you're wanting to get the results from and all of that, so that you can, get the most out of all this and out of the time that you spend here and things like that. So, so also make sure that you don't just listen to the information, but you also look at your channel, and that you think, okay, with all these things that he talked about today, how does this apply to what it is that I'm doing? What can I start, leveraging, or what can I start using out of the information that he shared today? What can I start, doing on my channel now to try to make a difference? Because, knowledge without action is, useless. So because of that, just make sure that you are taking the information and that you are, doing something with the information so that you can see how it works for you. And besides that, Everybody has a fantastic week coming up this week. Again, I have a new series where I keep people up to date on YouTube updates. I encourage you to make sure that you check that out. I publish those every Friday. And I also want to remind you, if you are looking for music for your live streams, for your podcasts, for your YouTube videos, make sure you check out Creator Mix as well. So on that note, everybody have a awesome rest of your week and your rest of your weekend. And I will see you next Saturday at 9 a.m. Eastern. Stay safe out there. And again, have an awesome week. Thanks for watching.